Hello, my Teaserking family. How the heck is everybody today? Hope you're well. I'm doing well. That helps if I do it. I don't know. I have problems with my colors here. Anyway, so what's new? I'm waiting on the recruiters to tell me about the job. So I just texted the guy. Do we have a decision yet? It's been 2 days, and he's like, I'll call the guy now. So I might have to take maybe a call or a text about the position. I can't jinx myself and say, oh, I got it, but I believe it's a very good chance I have it. He asked for references and to fill out an application, which he hasn't got to me yet. Problem with references, they're all Mercedes, which ended a couple years ago, but are the people still there? And I know a couple people aren't, but I have their phone numbers. He wants my boss. I gave him two phone numbers and her email, and I'm like, I'm not. I don't chase the people around, and they're not gonna keep in contact with me. Oh yeah, my new number's this or that. Normally, you don't change numbers. So one of her phones, I believe, was her personal phone, and one was her work phone. So if he calls them both, he should have it. Or the email, if she again, these are all Daimler emails, Mercedes. So if they are still working there, then I should be okay. If they're not, then I'm not. It's as simple as that. So hopefully everything's good. They're painting my door today, so I'm doing this early. Just a second, I'm gonna get some water. One second, please. Well, Oh, okay, so sorry about that. My apologies. Yes, I know I should have done it before, but my mind was on this job and I thought I would just log in. So I'm going to do this, then I'll go swim like a Saturday or a Sunday. To me, it doesn't matter. Normally, I like to get out, go to the pool, then do the class, but we can certainly do it this way. So let's start with our gold price, which is up today, having a good day. Gold's up at 23.54, back up 25. Silver's back over 30. So one of the reasons, so I called the guy about the job is I want to go buy gold and silver. If I got the job, I can pull money out of my safe. If I don't, I gotta leave money in my safe. So we will see. 23.54. So I can still get gold pretty cheaply, and silver at 30. I probably would get some silver. I keep seeing these guys, oh, silver 2,000. I'm like, where did you get that number from, fellas? Which is the number I gave, because once you think analytical and you get out of the COMEX control, then yeah, that's where it should be. And you're still arguing like, well, it's not gold going up. Gold doesn't change in value. And I'm like, why not? That's the problem with these guys. They're so stupid. Gold doesn't change in weight. It does change in value. What does that mean, Professor? Well, an ounce of gold is still an ounce of gold. As I always say, right? So this quarter ounce of gold, let's say gold was $37, would have $9, roughly. It's still a quarter ounce of gold since 1971, but there's no way in hell it's worth $9. Even the $9 was fiat currency. But okay, but demand raises the price. And where all these guys screw up, including Alligator, Mark McGuire, gold is going up in value. The weight doesn't change. The ounce of gold, the quarter ounce, this quarter ounce is still the same quarter ounce as in 1971. But it's worth a hell of a lot more because the money in 1971 was fiat money once they got off the gold standard, and that's what's dropped. But you can't tell me that gold's going down now, that the dollar's going down any more than it's been going down. The dollar's worthless now, so how can they say, well, there's the dollar going down? It's people recognizing the dollar's worth less, which is lowering the value of the dollar. Nobody wants it. The value is zero. Got it. Gold goes up because of demand. The price goes up. Again, it's an ounce is an ounce. So in my Mahomes card, that one idiot who doesn't understand baseball cards shouldn't be talking. Now this is brand new, so I can't compare it. But let's compare the. So we got gold 23.53, silver 30. Okay, let's go to eBay and let's compare. All right, so here's a Mickey Mantle card. 1968. I have this card. PSA 9, 72,000. What was the card in 1968? Maybe $5, maybe $10. Again, they didn't have grading back then, so you couldn't really get an advantage by getting a PSA 9. But does this mean did the card go up because the dollar went down, or because the value of the card's a PSA 9 now and the demand made the card go higher? It's because of demand. So let's look at it even more so with our Joe Montana, 1981 Joe Montana. Where are you, Joey? Joseph. The auction, I think, ended. Here we go. It did end, but okay. So 1981, this card probably was $2. In 1991, I bought this card not graded for maybe $100. Beautiful card, a little bit off center, but basically it's crystal clear, good sharp corners, just a little off center. So I don't know if I have a 10 or a 9. Let's say I have a 10. I bought it for $2 ungraded. Did this card go up in value, or did the dollar drop, making the value go up? This card definitely went up in value, but it wasn't a PSA 10 in 1990. So if you went and bought it and you said, wow, it's really good centered and cornered and picture, and it's a really good card. You pay $200 for it. Then you get it graded. Okay. So it's hard to compare a non-graded to a graded card, but there was no PSA 10, but that non-graded card that was perfect is now going for $125,000. What is that? Is that inflation, or is that demand raising the price of the card? It's demand. It's the same thing. Demand makes this go up. Otherwise, why is it going up? Right? Why is it today? Let's see if we can find a 1/10 of an ounce. All right, so this is 275. No, this is a quarter ounce. This is $628 today, which is low. I think it's worth more. Yeah, it's definitely. This is $650 today. Okay. I'll show you what to look out for in eBay, right? So this is a really low price, 628, and I bet you it's sold out. Why would he still be selling it for 628? Yeah, it doesn't. It's a bad price. The better price is up here, 650. So I bought this for 550 a month ago. Did the price go up, or was there the inflation, but only this went up, but all the gold went up? The inflation's the same. I mean, it's the money's being printed, but I think the dollar is zero. All right, let's say this is worth a cent. Well, it's still worth a cent. This value has this changed in a month. Who the hell knows? Do people still accept it? Yes. So let's say it's still a penny. So then why would this go up from 550 to 650 if the dollar hasn't moved? Why is this going up? And the answer is because of demand. So the gold ounce hasn't changed. The weight of the coin, an ounce of gold, still an ounce of gold. And I agree that it took you $37 to buy the ounce in 1971. Now it takes you $2,400. What's an ounce of gold? An ounce of US is 2505. Just a second. So an ounce of gold is now so 2505 for the ounce of gold. Yeah. So what you're looking at demand raising the price. The inflation hasn't hit, and the fact that the JP Morgans and the bullion banks are doing derivatives, you can't get a fair price of gold. So the gold price is going up from demand and the fact that it's been non-market derivative down. So keep that in mind. We will see, but it's definitely not. It definitely is the gold price going up. Demand's making it go up, like the Montana. So the Montana, right? Sorry about that. So we can see the Montana price it was never 125 before. Yes, the grading helped, but I picked it up for under $200. Why did it go up? Well, it's not because of inflation. The demand made the price go up. Just like the 65 Mickey Mantle, it's a PSA 9 is $60,000. That's demand creates the price. Remember that. In the free market, the market says you can sell it, and then what is the buyer going to pay for it? That's the way a market works. So here you can see Mantle 60,000, Montana's one, and that's got nothing to do with inflation. That's everything to do with the free market and the bidding of an auction. And this is the free market bidding this up to 650 when I paid 550 for it a month ago. So don't tell me that's inflation and that gold doesn't go up in value. Excuse me, I got some hard avocados. Anyway, when it gets down to it, you got to eat it like a plum sometimes. Just bite into it. All right. So when they say it's not the value of gold going up, but the dollar going down, they don't understand. It is the value of the gold going up. The physical gold is raised by demand. Just like a stock, Microsoft goes from 100 to 120 because of demand. My cards, my Montana card, my Mantle card have gone up because that's the demand for them. People are bidding them up. It's got nothing to do with the inflation. Montana's not 125 because of the inflation. It's 125 because people, it's very rare, the PSA 10. So now you're getting into a little different area. You're getting into it's limited. The demand's over supply. So in other words, I got 50 PSA 10s. That's it. Because it's very hard to get centered. I got 50 PSA 10s. I got 100 people. That's how it gets to 125. Inflation doesn't play a role in it. However, if you want to hedge against inflation, this is a beautiful hedge. It's 125 in dollars. It's going to be a half ounce of gold to buy that, right? Well, that gets me into gold. With gold, there's only so much, 250,000 tons, which, at 32,000 ounces a ton, you go, well, that's a lot. If you're buying ounces, if you're buying tons, it's not that much. And China with 60,000 tons going up because the public's buying in their bank accounts with the safety of the Chinese government are buying every month a ton. There's billions of people in China. They're all working. They don't go into the stock market. They won't go into Bitcoin because it's not illegal. It's illegal, and they won't go into housing market because it crashed. So the only place is gold. So all these people working have gold accounts and they're buying gold. Okay, there goes another 10,000 tons and another, and China has 60,000 tons, Russia with 30, India with another 10, let's say, Saudi Arabia, probably 10. All these rich countries have that. Zimbabwe with 2.5 tons, but the rest of Africa, South Africa probably has 20, let's say at least 10,000 tons sitting on a gold mine. So that's what you have with these countries. So there's not a whole lot left. So now it becomes a Montana card. People need gold to protect themselves. That's where Egon gets into wealth preservation. What he's saying in English is the dollar and the Swiss franc and the euro are all being run by idiots, and they're all being printed too much. When you have something not backed by anything, and this is not backed by gold or silver, it's backed by the government's. Yes, it's worth something, which is worthless. So when it's not backed by anything, this has really no value the whole time. So if they come out with a new US or euro or British pound and it's still backed by the government, it means it's worthless. That means nothing. You want a dollar backed by gold or silver. That's it. So that's what you want to look at. You then have, so nobody wants it, right? So it's really worth zero now. I don't know why they say, well, it's worth 1%. Egon, it's 99% gone. No, it's 100% gone because it's not backed by anything. So why would it have a value? It's like toilet paper. Does it have a value? No. So why would it be 98% gone? It's 100% gone. So in theory, the dollar's worthless. You can still go to Kroger's and buy, apples, but that's just because they accept it. They have to because the government's saying you got to accept this. But in the market, the market will take over and say, I don't want it. So I'll go to Europe with $1,000 and I want to exchange them. They won't let me. Hopefully they'll let me use my credit cards if I'm in Amsterdam or Greece or somewhere and I want to pay for the hotel. Hopefully they'll still take the credit cards. I don't know. I mean, that could be a problem I might run into. But we'll see. That's probably down the road a little bit. So because of the supply of Montana cards, well, both these cards, because they're limited, for 1965 manuals, PSA 9, there can't be more than 100 of them. Because go look at older cards, they're all dinged up. The corners are dinged. The centering is very hard to get. So there's not a lot of that. So 60 grand for that. And Montana's 125 again. The supply is limited. Maybe there's 100 PSA 10 Montanas. Maybe there's more, but only 100 have been graded. Not sure. I think there's a grade list that says how many have been graded. But with that said, if the demand exceeds the supply, the price goes up. If 500 people want the Montana card and there's only 100 PSA 10s and they all want PSA 10s, that drives the price of the PSA 10 to 125,000. That's the point of it. That's what drives the price is there's more buyers than sellers. And so when something's limited, the price goes up, not because of inflation. How many of these are there? Not a lot. Okay. There's 250,000 tons, but it's not all coin, right? You have the James Bond bars, 400-ounce bars. Well, there's a lot of bars. When Russia and China and India and these countries they buy 400-ounce bars. So there's probably very limited amount. This is a maple leaf of maple leaf quarters. There's probably not that many of them when you think about it. Because you have to take the bar and melt it down and make coins out of it. How many quarter ounces are you making? How many ounces? How many half ounces? How many tenth of an ounce? So, you take the bar, you do it, and maybe you make, 10,000 quarters. I don't know. I'm just saying but a lot of them are in bars, right? So when you look at China, it's stacked bar after bar after bar, or London, as I showed you, or even I was watching the Die Hard 3 movie, the best one, and they all the bar, all the gold is bars in New York's Federal Reserve. All right. So with that said, what drives price is demand, more demand than supply. Very, very simple. 10 people want, there's only 5 of them. You've got the 5 people have it and the other 5 want it. So they're going to bid it up. And that's what happened. I don't know what this is. So they bid it up and we go from there. This guy always calls me at the wrong time. And you bid it up. And that's how the price gets determined, by the bids. So when I show you Montana 125, it's because it was bidded up to 125. And it really has nothing to do with how much money is printed and the value of the money and the inflation, therefore. These prices don't go up because of inflation. Have nothing to do with it. The only thing that really goes up from inflation would be stuff like the markers, because the cost went up. This has already been made. There is no cost. This cost has been done in 1981. So there is no cost. So now it's just bidded. Now I could show you a 1981 Franco Harris PSA 10, and it's probably worth $50, $100 because it's Franco, right? So, but then there's Joe Blow in the set's probably worth $5 PSA 10. So it's because it's Montana that it has the value. But the value is derived from the last auction where somebody put it out on auction and somebody paid 125,000 or 100,000, let's say. I've seen it go for 100. I've seen the Jerry Rice go for 100. And so that's what they do. See here, okay, so here we got 60,000 for the Mantle PSA 9. That's a bad. Anyway, here's a 68 Clemente PSA 9. It gets $7,000. And yet, here's the Mantle in the 68 set, gets 72,000. So it shows you who the play. They're both PSA 9s. They're both in the same set, but one's Mantle and one's Clemente, and it shows you the Mantle. Why aren't they all 72,000 or aren't they all 6,000? Because more demand for Mantle than Clemente, which is why I tell you to buy Mantle or Brady. Pretty soon Mahomes, pretty soon Joe Burrow. And that's what it is. So there's more. Why? Because there's more demand for Mantle than there is Clemente. Because Mantle's New York, Mantle's the god. Clemente's a great player. We love Clemente, but he ain't no Mantle. And that's really that's the point of the thing. It's the demand gets changed for who the player is. So that's why you buy Mantle, because the demand's huge. That's why you buy gold, because the demand's huge. But the more demand, the more the price goes. And the difference is this gets printed trillions and trillions of dollars. This can't get printed. There's only 250,000 tons, and then there's 3,000 tons every year dug out of the ground. How much of it do they make maple leaf quarter ounces? Probably not a lot. They probably, a lot of the 400-ounce bars go to China and in India and Russia. Maybe there's 1,000 tons that go into coins, and then of what do they go? U.S., Canada, Philharmonics in Austria? Do they go Australia kangaroo? Do they go Cougarans? Now, how much does each go to each country? So there are not a lot of them out there. And now with the more demand, so by printing this to death and this having no value is driving demand into this, raising the price. This is what these guys are not getting. A, this is not a stock, and B, the price goes up because of demand, not because necessarily of the money going down, the price goes up. That's a bunch of bullshit. The ounce stays the same. An ounce of gold is an ounce of gold, is what they mean to say, but the price clearly goes up based on demand, just like the price goes up based on demand. Mantle, 72,000 for a PSA 9, 1968. His rookie card is 1952. God knows what that would. I don't even think there is a PSA 9 or 10 in 1952 Mantle. But God knows if you had a PSA 9, 52 Mantle, you'd never work a day in your life. You could buy like 10,000 tons of gold with it, because it'd be one, and there'd be a million people with the demand for this one card. So it would go boom, boom, boom. In an auction, it would just, it would go to the moon. And that's what you're looking for. That's why I tell you to buy Mantle and Brady and Willie Mays and these, of course, Brady. Well, look at Brady, right? This is a 10 count. There's only 10 of this card, and it's $7 million. 10 of, it's numbered out of 10. It's a rookie card, and it's Brady, and it's 7 million. Now, I think the 7 million's, I don't know that that's demand, but I don't know where he's getting that amount from, but I'm sure demand plays a role in it. He doesn't want to part with it under 7 million, so he's not going to sell it. That's how much he knows that card's worth, because there's only 10 of them. And the demand is a lot more than 10. There's probably, if you put a normal price on this, 500 grand, he'd probably have 10,000 people bidding on it. So he's a little high. That's why he's not selling it, but I don't think he wants to sell it. He wants the 7 million. But that's got nothing to do with inflation. That's strictly to do with demand and supply. There's 10, and that's it. That's why I show you Mahomes. A, it's Mahomes, and B, there's 50. Is there more than 50 people who demand that card? And I would say the more Super Bowls he wins, the more the demand goes up. People like 50 count because that's all there is. The supply is limited, the demand grows, especially Mahomes, especially Brady, especially Mantle. Now here's a rookie Mahomes, $500,000. I don't think it's a 10 count. So what you have, this is where economics laws come in. The less of a supply and the more demand, the more the value. So why am I telling you about gold? Supply is very limited. The demand's huge, getting stronger. Now these pension funds are talking to Egon. How do I buy gold? Well, that means obviously they're interested in buying gold. And then all these billionaires are coming and going to Egon. So when they buy, they're not going to buy ounces. They're going to buy tons. So at what point do we know what, that's the reason you can't print it. So this is limited. And here comes more and more and more demand, which is going to kill COMEX, who is they're the ones who keep the price down. It's not real. That would be like, that would be like doing a derivative on the Mantle card and selling it for $40,000 to keep the price down. But they don't have options on baseball cards, thank God. So the 72 is what it's selling for, right? Low supply, demand is high. And keep in mind, this is a PSA 9, Mickey Mantle. Imagine, and I might have a PSA 10 because mine is beautiful and it's centered. And if I got a 10 and that's 72,000 for a 9, man, I got $1 million card. So I got to get that graded, but I got to trust the graders. Anyway, that's down the road. But that's the point. It's very limited and it's demand. So do you have strong demand and a limited? I do have this, but I have these stupid derivatives, which are options. And I'm going to explain that again today. So I was thinking about that. So Trading Places, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy against the Dukes. At the end of the movie, the orange juice report comes out. Now Dan and Eddie are selling the options at 142. The Duke guy are buying the options when it opens at 102. So Duke and Duke's buying because they think the price is going to go up, and they're going to buy at 102 with the intent of selling it at 250. We're going to make a fortune by doing that. But since they had the false crop report, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd know it's not going to go down. It's not going to go way up because there's no problem. So what do they do? If you listen, they're going selling it at 142. So they're making the sale first. Then when the crop report comes out and there's no damage, so the price isn't going to go up, it goes down to 24 and they buy it at 20. So at the end of the movie, they're buying. As the price is dropping, they're buying. So they buy at 24 for something they've already sold at 142. Duke and Dukes are buying at 110, 120, 130, and then they're selling it at 24. Oops. So that would be like buying this at 700 and selling it at 100. Why the fuck would I do that? So that's the part of the options that it's kind of hard to understand, which I fucked up yesterday, but I think I caught it. But you can buy or sell an option and then do the reverse on the other side of it. So that's how they're doing it. So with gold, what do? They're selling first. They're selling it at 2,300 and they want to buy it at 2,200, but it's not getting there. The Chinese won't allow it. So JP Morgan and these other banks are losing their ass because the derivatives, our options are dated. So they have like 3 months to, if they sell it, to buy it. Well, they're not going to buy it if it's 2,400 and they are selling it at 2,300. They're going to lose $100 an option, or they'll just expire is what happens. So they can't buy the option at 2,200 because it's never going to 2,200. Bye-bye, JP Morgan. That's why whatchamacallit, Diamond quit. He's retiring because he knows he's fucked. He's got all these derivatives where he's selling at 2,100 and selling at 2,000, and it'll never get down for him to buy it. So they're all going to expire. It's going to lose trillions of dollars. So he's getting out now. He's taking his retirement. He'll probably leave the day before the options explode. But you don't have that in this. So you do have these options on COMEX for this, which is bullshit. This should be the same as this. There should be no difference. If this was a free auction, this would be $10,000. That's my point, and this is my proof. Mickey Mantle, 68 tops, PSA 9, 72 grand. There's no option where somebody's selling it at 72, knocking the price down to 50, and then buying it at 50. Only in COMEX with their warped bullshit where they're controlling the price of gold and silver, and they're making money on the options. That's the game that JP Morgan's been playing and the bullion banks. They've been selling gold gold will hit 2,000, they'll sell it, and then you'll see the price drop to 1,900, and they're buying it at 1,900. It's all a game. There's no physical demand for the gold, and everybody who buys it doesn't understand. They're sitting there with the gold going, what the fuck? It hit 2,000, and now it went down to 1,900. I'm getting out before it goes to 1,800. Well, it's never going to go to 1,800 because now they're gonna buy it at 1,900, watch it go up to 2,000 and sell it at 2,000. So they're going to do the reverse option. So the first option is 2,000. It goes to they push it down to 1,900 and they buy it. So I buy for 19. I have sold for 2,000 first. Because again, in options, you can sell first or buy. Then at 1,900, they're buying the gold, and then it goes up to 2,000, and then they sell it at 2,000. And that's why you saw the bullshit. And nobody understands that that's what's going on. So nobody sits there and realizes it's a fixed game. And why is gold only at 2,000? Well, because of these options. But the options are blowing up because of the physical of the real, I want this. And when they want to lower the price, it's not going. Their people are buying it. The Chinese, the Indians, they're buying it all, not letting it go down. So the banks are, the options are blowing up in their face. I sell it at 23.50, but I can't buy it at 22.50. It won't go there. It'll go down to 23.10, and then it starts going back up again. They can't control it, so they're getting out of it. That's why they got into Bitcoin. They'll blow Bitcoin up, and silver still being done like that. However, gold is not being done like that because there's too much demand for gold, not enough supply for them to keep playing this game. And that's what's happening. And that's why COMEX should be blown up, but the gold is blown up because of this tier one Basel III, where you've got to have the gold. You can't just short the gold without gold. That's what they were doing. They were selling all these contracts without having any gold. So now it's like not having the mantle card. Well, I'm going to short it to 40,000. I'm going to sell it at 72 and buy it at 40. Do you have any mantle cards? No, we don't have it. We're just going to do options to lower the card, then buy it back at 42. But they never have the card, or they have one card and they're buying 100 of them. So with gold, what they're doing is they have like 10 ounces and they're controlling 1,000 ounces. They don't have the ounces. Now they have to. That's the Basel III, is you must have the physical in order to do the derivatives, which they don't have. So they got to get out. China and India and Saudi Arabia now, and all of the BRICS companies are coming in, countries are coming in and buying it when it drops, and the banks are blowing up because they can't do it. You have the Shanghai Gold Exchange, which is physical. You actually need a physical bar to do this little game with. You can't do it if you don't have the gold. So now you're going to see a physical gold price. Add a zero to this. So this is right now $650, $6,500. An ounce, 2,500 is going to be 25,000. And that's why I say it, because my background and expertise is right here. It's the 68 mantle. However, these guys, Alligator and this Craig Hemke guy and all this other Robbie guys, they don't have that expertise. They don't understand it. And I do. And that's why I give you the figures I give you are based on the fact that COMEX can't remain. And I've never seen, I will bet anybody this card that you'll never see this under 72,000 if it sells for that. I don't know what, let's see what it actually sells for. Let's say it sells for 60. You'll never see it under 60. The guy who buys it for 60 wants to put it on auction, is going to put it on auction at 65. He'll never go lower. If you paid, even if you bought it for 72,000, and now you say, well, I could use some money, I'm going to put it out on auction at 80,000. He's never going to go down to 50 or 60. Never. And that's the thing. That's the same thing with our Montana card, right? So let's go through the story of the Montana card, wherever the fuck it is. Okay, so the Montana card, I saw it go for 100 grand. So the guy who bought it for 100 grand wants to sell it, but he's only going to take 125. That's why you never see this price drop. He wants 125 because he paid 100. You'll never see it at 60 or 50 or, you know, that's my point. This card only goes up. This card only goes up. This card only goes up. Nobody in their right mind selling an 86 Flair Center Jordan. He probably bought it for 400 grand. He wants 500 grand. And that you'll never see it go lower. You'll see it priced in gold. So maybe 2 ounces of gold will buy the Jordan card. That'd be a fair trade. But that's it. You'll never see it go down. Hence, if you get COMEX out of the way, you'll never see this go down. That's why I get a little upset when I hear these guys go, well, it'll be profit taking. There'll be corrections. There won't be. There is no profit taking. Well, profit taking on the mantle card. Let's take the Montana card, 125. Profit taking. That's it. He's profit taking. I bought it for 100. I'm going to profit take and sell it for 125. That's how he profit takes it. He is not, what did he pay? He paid 100 for it, right? I can profit take. I paid $200 for an ungraded Montana card that could be a 10. Let's say it's a 10. Now it's worth 100 and a quarter. What do I do? The hell if I'm going under 100 and a quarter. My auction's going to be maybe 120. Now you see 125, you see 100,000. Montana rookie, I'll get the action at the 120. I am profit taking because I paid 200 for it. But I have no desire to sell it at that cheap price either. And once the gold comes up, that's going to be, see, people are needing money. Once the gold comes into play, you'll be able to get a 200,000 for the Montana card. Hence, why? Because it's a real asset. It's extremely limited because there's not a lot of PSA 10 Montanas, just like there's very few PSA 10 Manals. I can't find them. And the demand is huge. Everybody in New York and Florida and any baseball fan could get a PSA 10 Mantle card, 68, 65. They'd be all over it. It would go for over probably $2-3 million easily because there's only one. There's no PSA 10 Mantles. If you find one, the demand is going to be huge. The demand is going to be huge for this because this is gone. And we know the real story is you printed 20 trillion here, 130 out, all these countries de-dollarizing. They don't want to be sanctioned. They don't want to be told what to do. They want to join BRICS because it's going to be backed by gold. So they don't have to listen to Russia and China because nobody trusts them either. They could turn around on you and Russia starts invading you. So you want to make sure that's we're on the same team, China and Russia. So that's where we're at. So because gold's very limited and the demand is getting higher and higher and higher as these dollars are going out. So by the dollar being inflated and the euro and the British pound, the Swiss franc, all the other yens, wons, and rubles being inflated, they're all worthless. So now you got to go get value. And the only way you're going is gold and silver. That increases the demand exponentially, which is what Egon says with his stadium at 7%. And in the last 10 minutes, it goes to 100%. And that's where we're at now, which is why I scream and yell at you to go buy it, because soon it's like the Montana card, right? So I could have screamed and yelled at you to buy this card at $500, or when the first one that hit PSA 10, I certainly wasn't 125,000. Right? I guarantee you the first one probably was $5,000. I know the Jordan card, when it was during COVID, was 35,000 for his PSA 10 86 flare. It's now 500,000. So I know it was 35. So nobody profit takes. You got a card like that, you're buying and holding. Nobody's profit taking. Now at 500 grand, I'll part with it, but I'm not profit taking it. So that's what you have with gold. Nobody in their right mind it is not. When the price lowers, it's got nothing to do with anybody selling, or it's condensing. It's strictly COMEX selling derivatives to buy cheaper. So when it goes up to 24, so here's what's happening, right? Gold goes up to 24.50, like it did last week or 2 weeks ago. Out come the derivative heads. Out come the Eddie Murphys, and they're going, I'm selling it at 24.50 because I know it just went up. And then so they do the derivatives to knock it down to 23.50. And then that's when they buy it. I'll buy it at 23.50. I've sold it at 24.50. Now I'm buying it at 23.50. And that's all going to go away because there won't be anybody to drop the price. So the derivatives will go away. And then it's just people like us going, oh, good, I'll buy it. I want to own more gold because I can't own the dollar. So there's people like us in the physical world. We just want it. But we understand these derivatives are going on, lowering the price, but we know they're going to end. And we know the demand's going to be so strong, it'll just blow it away. And that's what we're waiting for, right? So we're waiting for all these currencies to go out. And again, everybody, well, when's that going to happen? I mean, come on. When is that's like saying, when is the Montana rookie card going to go hit 1 million? You can't answer that question, but you know it will. Well, I say, when is it going to hit 200,000? And if you ask me this is a 1981 card. So if you ask me in 1999, when's Montana going to hit 100 and a quarter? It's at 5,000 now. I'd say, I don't know, but it will. And it has. So really, gold's going up because these COMEX are getting out of the way. They won't be able to sell to drop the price to buy. And that's all that's happening. It's got nothing to do with no demand. It's got nothing to do people selling it and profit taking. These people who are saying this are idiots. They do not understand the concept I've just taught you. Right? I'm doing Eddie Murphy. I'm selling at 140 and I'm buying at 24. That's all that's happening. So they're trying to manipulate the price. So when it goes to 24.40, they're trying to sell it to push it back to 23.40 to buy it at 20, and they make $100 a contract or whatever. So as long as there's the derivative game available, every time gold goes really high because of demand, they'll push it back. They'll sell it to go down to buy it cheap. So they're trying to sell it at 3 to buy it at 2. That's what's happening. So if we understand that, you don't get upset. You know it's not going to stay long. You know the price is going to keep going up because they can't control it. They can't write the derivatives they used to write. And the difference here is you can't do derivatives on Montana. That's why it never goes down. But you do derivatives here in COMEX. And it's all bullshit. It's all Ponzi scheme. So as the demand for gold goes up, the price goes up, the derivatives start losing. You start losing on it because you're selling it with the hope of lowering the price to buy it. But as you lower the price starts jumping up. Nobody's selling it. So like I said, it's not consolidating. Nobody's profit taking. It's the option people selling it because it went up to buy it when it drops. And that's the game. I'm going to sell first to buy. And that's why you don't see options, because nobody would sell Montana at 125 to buy him at 100, because that'll never happen. Or Mantle. So it'd be like doing a derivative on the Mantle card. Well, I'm going to sell it at 60 so I can buy it at 50, and it'll never get to 50. Nobody's going to let it go down. So that's your option lesson today. See, I knew watching these movies helps me out. So that's why the price goes down. It has nothing to do with profit taking or consolidation. It is basically just the derivatives. And the price of gold goes up because of the demand, like the Montana and the Mantle card. These go up because people want them. There's demand for them. They love Mantle and Montana. These are great cards. PSA 9, PSA 10. Of course, the price is going to go up because of the demand. The price goes up here because people got to get out of the dollar, and the only safe thing is gold. So they buy this to get out of the dollar. So therefore, the demand is huge. That's why these central banks and the people in China are buying all that. The people in the U.S. sit there and buy stocks. That's why the stock market's high. Look, the economy's good. The stock market's up. It's only 5 stocks. The rest of the stocks, you're getting killed. Okay, so then at what point do we realize that, wait a minute, the stock market's fake? the housing market's fake. And then with inflation, as I've explained, and I'll be happy to do it again, this is worthless. So if I want to lend somebody money for a car, $20,000, go buy a Camry. Now it's probably 30,000. 30,000 to buy a Camry, but you know what? I'm going to get paid back in inflated dollars, so I need to charge you a higher interest rate because if I'm loaning you 30 to get the Camry, I need to get back 40 because by the time I get the 40, it'll only be worth 31 or 32 in today's dollars, and that's why the interest rates go up, and that's why they'll never come down because they're derived by people with the money. And the interest rate is only because we're not on the gold standard. If we're on the gold standard, we don't need to fuck around with interest rates. We don't have unemployment. We don't have recessions and depressions. They're all caused by the dollar being printed and then the interest rates being manipulated and these options being manipulated. It's all bullshit. So people lost their ass in 2008. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was all Madoff. Actually, the people in Madoff lost their ass. People in the real estate trust, our attack on Wall Street guy, lost 60 grand. Why? Because it was a Ponzi scheme. All the people weren't going to pay their mortgages back. But the beauty of gold is I'm not dependent on anybody doing anything. I have it. I'm holding it. That's the bottom line. That's all that matters. I don't need I don't need to worry if somebody pays their mortgage or somebody pays their car back or somebody pays the mortgage on their house. I don't need to worry about that because I'm in it. It's me and gold, and there is nobody controlling gold. Well, they're controlling the price, but that's going away. There's nobody that can say, "Oh, your gold's worthless," unless the market says nobody wants it. It's the most demanded thing there is right now. But what's the market saying? We don't want this. We want to join BRICS because we don't want this. Once you don't want that, it goes to zero. We'll do CBDCs. No, you won't. The banks aren't going to allow it. And how does the Fed go? They're going to issue 350,000 accounts? Really? The Fed's job is to help banks, not people. So we got to go to Wells Fargo and Fifth Third and Comerica and Chase. We got to go there to get our money. So maybe you got to buy CBDCs from there, but they're going to still have money. They're going to still do credit cards. They're not going away. It'll be an option like Bitcoin. Bitcoin you can get or you can't. Now, what they try to do with Bitcoin is make it anonymous, but it ain't limited at 21 million. Hardly. Limited is 50 is limited, right? That's limited. 21 million Bitcoin is not limited. They can say it, and it's not money because you can't use it. It's the same as going to the store with this. Oh yeah, I'm at the restaurant. I'm getting steak. Yeah, I want to pay with this. Oh, sorry, we don't take that. I want to pay with Bitcoin. Sorry, we don't take that. It's not real money. And the government, you're by shutting out the government, you can't do that. The government has to be involved with it. Gold is okay because it's like selling a Van Gogh, right? I got a Van Gogh on the wall right there. It's not a real Van Gogh. Don't get excited. But if it was, I wouldn't take that to the grocery store either. I would have to sell it to get some kind of money to then go to the grocery store to buy it. And that's what you're going to do with gold. You're going to sell it to get some form of money, medium of exchange to go to the grocery store. So it's always about going to the grocery store. So people have the wrong idea when they say, like Bobby's daughter, well, I need, how are you going to go to the grocery store with gold? Well, how are you going to go with the dollar that's worthless? So that's where we're at. I just wanted to check my email. So before I came on, I chatted with the guy about the job. So I sent my references in. No, he hasn't responded. So Anyway, he's waiting for the HR manager to get back to us. So he's probably got to do some checking. And all I'm looking for is a yes or no. And then I'm off to the gold store if I get the yes or tentative that I passed the drug test. So that's what I'm waiting for. Okay. So the more things that are short supply with high demand, aka Mantle cards, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, the more that's what we're looking for. So by the dollar going out, they're creating this scenario. With this having heavy inflation and losing its value, which we understand it's the printing and not the prices. So when they go on TV and they go, well, inflation's down to 2% or 3%, they're full of shit. There's absolutely no way that's true. It can't be true. It's impossible because not all prices can go up, right? Why is Coke not $20 a bottle? Why is it $2.95? Because they can't sell it for 20. Nobody will buy it. So even going up to $2.95, it's usually buy two, get one free, right? So they can't do anything with it. I'm going to give the afternoon baseball in 1 minute. Atlanta Boston starts in 15 minutes. So I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm just on a roll. So as they print this to zero, the answer is gold. You get off the Titanic onto the gold boat. But the prices can't be measured because again, Coke moved it from 159 to 295 for the 2 liter, but they can't go any higher because nobody's going to buy it. So the inflation then looks at, it's even because it's still $3 to $3 last year to this year, or 295. But we got to go back when it was $1.50 and now it's 3. Inflation's doubled, but they don't count it like that. Well, we know it's doubled. Well, why don't they raise it to $5 a 2 liter? Because they would never sell it. Nobody would buy it. So they're held in check by us saying we don't want 2 liter Coke for $5. We don't want it for $3. Excuse me. So with that being said, the Coke, the inflation price is mute. It's not real. It can't be real, which then leaves you to it's the printed, it's how much money you've printed. It's the value of the dollar that's gone down, not the prices. So we know the dollar's been printed and we know the value of the dollar's dropped. We can see it. It's now cost $3 to buy the 2 liter. And then you realize that this is zero. And then you realize, wait a minute, so is the euro. They do the same thing. And the British pound, the Swiss franc, the yuan, the yen, the ruble, they're all doing the same thing. They're all printing, and it's not backed by anything. And then here comes BRICS with gold. And then we realize that this will go up. This will hold its value. This is our out. This is our safety net. So we then realize that, and that's why we buy it. And it's limited, and it can't be printed by a government. Yet the government will start accepting it, or at least we can trade it in by going to the coin store and buying that. I asked Jenna today, "Where's your gold?" I hope it's not in the bank. She said, "No, it's at home." I said, "Okay, good, smart. Do you have a gold store you can sell it at?" And she says, she said the bank. I don't know if she can take her gold and get spot at the bank or not. I don't want her to go to a pawn shop because they'll kill her on it. So I'm trying to say, if we have to go to Switzerland to sell it, we will, but don't sell it at the pawn shop. You might have to go to if the bank gives you the true price, then go to the bank, or wait for me and I'll sell some here and give you the money, and then give me an ounce. I'll go take my ounce, get the money, give it to you, give me your ounce, and I'll just sell it here. But that's down the road. Anyway, so that's your economics lesson. That's your derivative lesson. That's your gold lesson, the money lesson, and your eBay lesson and your mana lesson. So it's always about if the supply is low and the demand is high, the price goes up. And that's what we have here. The supply is low and the demand is high, getting higher. And we're killing the COMEX, which does the Eddie Murphy. Oh, it went up $100, so I'm going to sell it and we'll kick it back down to that 100 and then I'll buy it at that 100. That's all going away in gold. It's still alive in silver. That's why you don't see silver, but it's going to go away in silver because of all the demand in silver. They won't be able to do, I'll sell the silver at 32 and buy it at 30. They won't be able to do it. They're still monkeying around with it. So we can still buy silver cheap, knowing it's going to go with gold. And that's what we're waiting for. So when you ask, when's that going to happen? It's going to happen when the COMEX for silver blows up like the COMEX for gold did. All right. 127. I got a 135 game. Atlanta and Boston. So let's start doing baseball. There's a few 1:30, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. And then we'll get back to economics. So Atlanta, Boston, we got Spencer Swellenbach, 0-1 with a 540 against Nick Pivetta, 2-4 with a 408 for Boston. Who the fuck is Spencer Swellenbach? Yeah, from Michigan. He went to Nebraska. He's pitched a total of one game, 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. So he's pitched once. Maybe he was good at Nebraska. I don't know. Obviously, he's not that good. He couldn't make the Michigan team. Nick Pivetta, 2-4 with a 408. Let's look at his last 5 games. Is he worth betting? He loses to the Tigers, gives up in 5 innings, 3 hits and 2 runs. 3 innings against Milwaukee, gives up 5. 6 innings against St. Louis, pitches a 1-hitter. And 5 innings against Tampa, gives up 4 hits and 2 runs, 7 hits and 5 against Atlanta earlier. So he's no day at the beach either. So you got 2. This has got to be over. So take Atlanta over 10 because they'll hit. Atlanta's a good hitting team. Where's my sheet? Here it is. So if we look at Atlanta's ERA and other, Atlanta's bullpen's 334 and they hit 250, so they're a good hitting team. And Boston's a 351 ERA and a 243. So they're both kind of weak bullpens and good hitting. So this should definitely go over 10. So take Atlanta over 10. I'm not betting it because it's 10, but I like it over. St. Louis and Houston. Houston over 9. We had yesterday 1. Miles McCollum, 3-6 with the 554 against Ronald Blanco, 5-1 with the 2. We're taking Houston for 5 units today. Houston's been winning these games. Cincinnati, Colorado. We got Cincinnati 135-11. We got Graham Ashcraft, 4-3 with the 476. He sucks. Against Dakota Fanning for Colorado, 2-7 with the 502. I'm taking this game over 11. Oh, it went down from 11.5. All right, go Colorado over 11. 2 terrible pitchers. Colorado hits good, especially at home. Pop-ups go for home runs. So we're going over in this game. San Francisco and Arizona. We got Jordan Hicks, 4-2 with the 270 against Jordan Montgomery, 3-3 with the 548. So I like Frisco here. I'm not betting them, but I like them. They're a 110. The Mets in Washington. Again, I didn't bet the Mets, or why I didn't even play this game. Luis Severino. Yeah.
We locked the door. We finished.
Okay. Yeah, just close it and I'll lock it when I go. Thank you. They were painting my door. And so I left it open, and now they're saying, okay, you can close it. And I'm like, that's why I'm doing the class now. New York and Washington, Servino, 3-2 with the 352 against Patrick Corbin, 1-6 with the 583. So we'll go with the Mets. I'm surprised I didn't play that. Okay. I'll lay away from the 5 unit, but I'll take the Mets. Did I play them yesterday? No, I didn't play them. They're kind of hard to play right now. The pitching's been weird and everything, but I do like the Mets today. Milwaukee, Philly. Aaron Ashby from Milwaukee, 0-1 with a 9.82 against Aaron Nolan, 7-2 with a 3.03. We're going to take Philadelphia 5 units. Let's look at Aaron Ashby. 0-1 with a 9.82. He's probably pitched, one game, 3 innings, gave up 8 runs. So 6 hits, 8 runs, 4 earned. But I don't care about earned. I care about runs. I'm noticing that a lot of runs, 5 runs and 2 earned. I'm noticing, I guess, a lot of errors, but I don't care. So Ashby hasn't really pitched much, but I'm going to take Philly. I had them yesterday. What did I have? I had Philly under, and I won with that. I'll talk about yesterday's games shortly. So let's go with Philly 5 units. KC Cleveland. We got Brady Singer for KC, 4-2 with the 2.63 against Nick Sandin, 4-0 with the 2.77. We already know KC. We're going under 8.5, which is a big number for 2 pitchers that have pitched 5-6 games at least in the 2.7s, 2.6s. So now we're going to make this our big game, our 10-unit play. Our 10-unit play won yesterday, the Cubbies. I was a little worried. They were down 5-0, and they won 7-6 because the White Sox absolutely sucked, which is why we made it, the Cubs. But today, Kansas City under, we got 2 stud pitchers going, so we're going to go under, and it's 8.5. The Dodgers and the Steelers, the Dodgers 105.8, and you very rarely see the Dodgers at only 105. I don't think I've seen them. Maybe if they play the Yankees, where they're the dog, they're always favored. 38-24, Pittsburgh 28-32, Paxton 5-0 with the 3.29 for the Dodgers. Paul Skynes 2-0 with a 2.45, and I think I played this game under. Pitt under 8, and this is 5 units. The Skynes is supposedly good. Who knows? James Paxton's 5-0 with the 3.29, and Pitt doesn't hit that much. Tampa Bay, Miami. Now we're at night, 6:40. Zach Eflin 3-4 with the 4.12. Brandon Garrett 2-0 with the 4.56. So 2-4 pitchers, and I'm going Tampa, and it's only 7.5, so I'm going over 7.5, 5 units here. Let's review the early games because it's almost kickoff. I know it's baseball. I'm just fucking around. So we got Atlanta over starting at 1:35. That's 1 minute. Then we go to Houston for 5 units, starts at 2:10. So you got a half hour there. Then we got Colorado, Cincinnati over 11 at 3:10. We got the 49ers over Arizona, 3:40. We got the Jets at 4:05. We've got Philadelphia, Milwaukee. We like Philadelphia for 5 units. And then we get to the night games. All right, so you can pick that up later. KC, Cleveland. KC under 8.5. That's our 10 unit. We got the Steelers. We got Tampa Bay over. We got the Steelers under 8. We got Tampa over 7.5. All right, Minnesota and the Yankees. Chris Paddock for Minnesota, 4-2 with the 4.57. Carlos Rodon, 7-2 with the 3.09. I took this game over 8.5. We know the Yankees can hit. Minnesota's been playing well. Yankees are 43-18. So I'm taking the Yankees over 8.5. I'm not betting it. I'm a little worried with Rodon's 3.09. Maybe I don't get over, but I think I will. And Minnesota with the 4.57, but Minnesota can hit them pretty well. Baltimore at Toronto. We've got Albert Suarez, who's a bullpen guy, but he started the last 2 games very good. Toronto, Jose Barrios, 5-4 with the 2.78. Suarez with the 1.57 with a lot of bullpen 0.00s. So he's tough. He'll go 4 or 5 innings. And then we got to look at Toronto's bullpen. It's a 4.56. It's a nightmare. Baltimore's is a 3.65. Baltimore probably win the game, but we're going to go Toronto under 8. in this one. Suarez maybe goes 5 innings. Barrios at the 2.78. I'm not expecting a lot of runs here. Now, what I've been noticing is where we're losing our games is in the bullpen innings, right? It's 2-2, and all of a sudden they give up 5 runs in the 8th inning. Well, that from a bullpen guy with a 1.1 ERA, 1.1 ERA, and he gives up 5 runs in an inning, you're not expecting it. That's why it's an average, and there's nothing you can do. That's why it's gambling. All right, Detroit and Texas. We got Kent Medea, 2-2 with a 6.25 for Detroit. Jose Urena, 1-5 with the 3.74. And here's where I say records matter. 1-5 with the 3.74. I am going Texas over 9. I can't bet it because it's Detroit, but I'm going over 9 in this game. Texas should light them up with this Meta guy, 6.25 ERA. And, Urena is still a 3.74, and I'm not thrilled with my Texas bullpen. So I'm going to go over here, over 8. Oh, it was 9. Now I like how these are getting adjusted in my favor. Now it's 8.5. Okay. Now I'm tempted to bet the game. No bet there. Yes, Toronto under 8. We bet 5. The White Sox and the Cubbies. The White Sox are a Z team. They're terrible. The Cubbies are very good. Eric Fetty for the White Sox, 4-1 with a 3.12 against James Talon, 3-2 with a 2.84. So 2 good pitchers with good ERAs, even though they're in the Cubbies. It is a night game. Probably more wind. The over-under of 9. I'm going under 9 in this game for 5 units. I think it's a high number, considering the White Sox. What did the White Sox hit like? White Sox hit 215 and the Cubs hit 227. So they both can't hit, and their bullpens are both 4.4. But we got the starters at 2.84 and 3.12. So I'm banking on the starters keeping the games close and that they can't hit. And I'm looking at a low score. But we have 9. It's not 7. So because it's 9, we're going to go 5 units. Cubs under 9. San Diego and California. We had this game yesterday for 5, over 8.5. It didn't get close. It's still 160-8. Dylan Cease, my guy, who's slowly fading into the sunset. He used to have like a 1.5 ERA. It's now 3.42 against Jose Soriano, 2-5 with the 3.86. So I'm going to go San Diego under 8. Both pitchers are okay, but both teams can't hit. And it was a low-scoring game yesterday. It's 8, so we're going to go under 8. And then the Seattle against the Raiders, 9:40 tonight. Seattle minus 160, over under of 8. Logan Gilbert, 3-3 with a 3.29 for Seattle against Joey Estes, 1-1 with a 6.10 ERA for Oakland. Jesus Christ. So I have taken Seattle in the game. Seattle with good bullpen, 3.62, and they don't hit, 2.23. Oakland, good bullpen, 3.42, and they don't hit, 2.25. So this would be an under, except for Joey Estes with the 6.10. So I can't play Oakland and I can't play the under. So I'm left with Seattle going, okay, I'll take Seattle, but I'm not playing it. So here's my bets. Houston, 5 units. Colorado, over 11, 5 units. Philly, 5 units. KC, under 8.5, 10 units. Pittsburgh, under 8, 5 units. Tampa Bay, over 7.5, 5 units. Toronto, under 8, 5 units. The Cubbies, under 9, 5 units. San Diego, under 8, 5 units. I'm not playing the JETSs, the 49ers, Texas over, Seattle. That's who I like, but I'm not going to play it. Atlanta over 10, I like, but I didn't play it. And that one's gone anyway. But you still have time. The Houston doesn't start till 2. You got 4 or 5, and then it goes night games. So, again, today's Wednesday. I don't really understand these early games Wednesday. So that's your baseball. We talked week 1 pro football yesterday. I'm not going to bring it up now, maybe this weekend. Yesterday, how did I do? I made money again. Kansas City 5 unit, I lost. They had a terrible game. That's where the bullpen killed me. Philadelphia under 9, 5 units win. The Yankees, 5 units win. Atlanta, 5 units win. The Cubbies, 10 units win. Cincinnati over 11, 5 units lose. California over 8.5, 5 units lose. And Oakland over 7.5, 5 units lose. So I go -5, even, +5, +10, +20, +15, 10, 5. So I win 5 units. I got hurt at the night. California is a terrible team. The Cincinnati game did not go over against Colorado, and Oakland did not go over 7.5 against Seattle. So you start, like, Seattle doesn't hit and California can't hit. So you start realizing, I can't go over. Like the Tigers, I mean, they can't hit. They've switched up some players. So they have this first baseman, Spencer Torkelson, #1 draft pick. The guy sucks. He's hitting like 200 with 2 home runs. And he was brought in for his home run power. He hit a little last year, but, and they bat him fourth. The guy's hitting 200. No. He bats ninth. But the Tigers are so bad, they have Javi Baez, $20 million shortstop. Big waste of time there, who's not even hitting 200. So he's got to bat eighth. Torkelson bats seventh. And then the catcher who can't hit 100 is batting ninth. And you wonder why you can't bet them over, because they have a few good hitters and then it's trash. And the manager doesn't know how to play the guys. Lately, he's been taking out Torkelson for a guy who actually hits like 280. Oh, well, what are you waiting for? Are you playing to win? Get him out there. I don't need Torkelson. Send him down to Toledo. Let him go play minor league ball to figure out how to hit. Obviously, he can't hit. Obviously, their shortstop needs to go. You sign him to a $20 million contract. The guy can't hit 200. Get him the fuck out of here. What do you, there's a guy shortstop at Cal, at UCLA, at Miami, at Florida State. Sign him up for nothing. Watch the shortstop. I'm sure they're great at these schools. Texas A&M, LSU, Bobby's school. Take Bobby. He's a little bit older. I mean, it's not hard to draft a shortstop. Fucking watch the college games. It's just like football. It's not hard to pick a quarterback if you watch the games. If you watch the games, you never would have taken Caleb #1. It's Penix #1 if you watch the game. So if I'm an opposing coach and I'm playing the Bears, what do? I pull out the Notre Dame game and I play Notre Dame defense, and they sacked them 5 times, a couple of fumbles, 3 interceptions. There you go. I got Caleb figured out. That's all I got to do. There's no running attack on the Bears. They got 3 receivers. I don't know why. I mean, you're going to play 3 receivers. You can't run. And if you're going to play 3 receivers, who's you going to throw the ball to? DJ Moore, probably most of the time, and maybe a little bit. So let's say 50% to DJ Moore and then probably 40% to Keenan Allen, because he always knows how to get open. You don't have a tight end, and your other receiver from Washington needs Penix and needs the Washington playbook to get open. He won't do anything. Maybe he gets 2 passes a game, wasted first-round pick, just like Seattle did with Smith-Njigba. If you have 2 quality receivers, you don't waste the first-round pick with the third one. They should have gotten a running back. They never should have drafted Caleb #1. They'll live and learn. Just like we understand the dollar and gold, we understand Caleb and Notre Dame. We understand Caleb against UCLA. We understand Caleb against Oregon. We see he doesn't show up. Just like Prime Jr. Yeah, he looked good against TCU, but how did he look against Oregon? Oh yeah, they lost 44-6. Yeah, I can't wait to draft Prime Junior. Look at him against Oregon. And I don't think they played in Notre Dame, but I mean, you got to be kidding me. He takes 50 sacks because his dad says, don't throw interceptions, take the sack. Oh, that doesn't look good either. You couldn't dump the ball away somewhere or maybe get out of the play. So that's what you have. It's just looking at it. And whereas yeah, so it's like baseball. I sit there with baseball and I watch these guys that can hit 210. I mean, I almost go through the box scores. So after the game's over, I go, why did I win and why did I lose? And I go, why did I lose? Because in the eighth inning, they go to the bullpen with the guy who gives up. He has a 6 ERA, and he gave up 4 runs, which killed our under, or killed our like Kansas City. It killed the game yesterday because we're winning, and then he gives up 4 runs in the 8th or 7th or something. And I look at the guy's ERA, and it's 5.60, and you're like, this is the best guy out of your bullpen. You know, you can pitch the 1.0 ERA pitcher 2 innings. Yes, it's allowed to. Maybe pitch him the 7th and the 8th. Yeah, he gets them out 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. So we got to go to another pitcher in the 8th. What the hell is going on? I finally had a thought about that. Hey, nothing. I felt like I got away with one KC first 5 yesterday. No, KC, I like. They had a good pitcher going. It's like today, Philadelphia. Well, for first 5, and I don't do first 5s. I think that's just a Ponzi scheme. But like Houston today. Ronel Blanco 5-1 with a 2.44 against Miles McCullough 3-6 5.44. So that won't be one I maybe do a 5 inning on because Blanco's going to blank him, and McCullough's going to give up his 4 runs. So they should be winning after 5. Then does the bullpen screw us in the 8th inning? I don't know, but I did take Houston as a 5-unit play. Hope you have a good day, King. Thank you, Nutton. I'm waiting on my job. He was supposed to call the company, but it's a direct hire. It takes a little longer. I sent in my references, which is a good sign. I said, I want to go buy gold. And if I got the job, I can go buy it. And if I don't have the job, then I'll keep looking. And I got applied to Harley again, another 5-month contract where I just worked, and then in GM. So I do have back doors that I'm putting up for insurance, but I want the job. So I interviewed Monday, and so I thought I would have, yes, we want Howard. We just got to do it. And maybe that's what they're doing is they do have to do a background check and a drug test, which will come after the offer. The offer will be pending passing those. So I'm just questioning, do they want me? But we got to do the little, write up the offer and everything else, which is what I think is happening. So I'm just waiting on that. And the recruiter's like, he understands. So, I'm a little bit like, let's go already. I want to go to the gold store. No, I don't play options. That's very deadly. Or are you talking money options or are you talking job options? That's a loaded question. Job options, I've got the one that I've just had 3 interviews with that I'm hoping to get hired at, but I've been applied to Harley and GM. Job-wise, I mean, I don't have an offer yet. I interviewed with the CFO and the VP of finance and then a director, these 3 in the last week or 2. We waited on the last guy because he was in Italy, so he's back. I had the interview with him Monday, sent the thank you yesterday, so I'm waiting on that, and I'm hoping I get it. Seems like a good fit. And at the end of the interview, the guy says to me, he says, "Well, let me go check with HR." So I said, I think I'd be a great fit. I'm what you need, and I think I would do very well working for you. So he seemed to be, yeah, that's good. I mean, you never know how to end. It's like ending the date. Well, we gonna have sex, or am I gonna go home now? It's really hard to tell, but I think I did very well on the first two interviews with the VP and the CFO. I think it's probably like a 10 unit bet that I'll get the job, but I don't want to jinx myself. I gamble too much to jinx myself, but I do want to buy more gold as soon as I know I've got the job and I've got serious money coming in. The safe gets emptied, and here goes the gold and the silver. Well, thank you, Nutton. That's why I buy gold. As long as gold goes up, it really won't matter because I got all my money in gold and I'm just waiting for it. So, yeah, it'd be nice to get the job. At least I could help the girls out a little bit more than I am and buy more gold. So, that's it. So, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So yeah, these 5 inning games, I would never. I don't know. I don't study 5 innings. It's like these halftime. You guys in football betting the first half or the first quarter. Like, fuck, I'm telling you who's going to win the game. Like the Oakland San Diego game, week 1. Just bet the game under. I don't know first quarter, first half. You never know because of turnovers. But I know there's not going to be a lot of scoring in it. But I've seen turnovers lead to a couple touchdowns in the first quarter and then nothing the second half. And there was a game last year or two. It was Philadelphia, Jacksonville. I have a lock under 51 or something. And it's 40 something at halftime. I'm fucked. I'm done. They didn't score in the second half. And I won my under and I couldn't believe it. It was under 51. It was like 50 or 49. And I won it and they didn't score in the second half. And that's why I say I don't know. I only know the full game. I don't analyze it by halves or quarters. There's too many variables, and I doubt you're getting fair odds for that. But I know my odds for the whole game. Nothing. Has that whole bricks thing caused gold to shoot up? I'll explain in a minute. Let me read your other one. You bet the better quarterback in football first 5 innings. I bet the better pitcher. Evaldi came in like a one. Yeah, I mean, Evaldi's on Texas, I believe, but yeah. But what are your odds on it, right? So I bet Verlander. He had a 2-hit shutout against Detroit. He pitched 8 innings. So I won the 9-inning game because I knew he was pissed after losing to the Yankees. But if you would have bet him under against the Yankees first 5 innings, you'd have lost. And I noticed what he pitched, I think, against St. Louis the other day. He gave up 5 runs in the first 2 innings. And they lost the game, but they came back. So today with Ronel Blanco, 5-1 with a 2.44. And I know he's pitched 10 games. He's got a 2.44. I know they won't score a lot on him. And St. Louis can't score anyway. St. Louis has a 233 batting average. So the best one is like Atlanta's 250 and Colorado's 248 and KC's 256. Although Colorado, I would parenthesize with probably at home it's higher than on the road because just a pop up at home's a home run. So they're going to get a higher batting average. But they don't have much, so I would think McCullers will give up his 4 runs, and I think Houston with the 2.44 guys should at least keep them low. So and then you think you're going to get runs off of McCullers. That's the theory, and because it's all average, it's very difficult. So you got to get the right line on it. Yeah, my mistake. It was Lugo. Yeah, I had Lugo. Yeah, that was the problem. I couldn't believe Lugo. He had like a 1-something ERA. And then you see there was a couple of pitchers the last 2 days with the 1.8, 1.9 ERA. And they give up 5 runs in the first 2 innings. You're like, but what can you do? But then you bet them back the next game because they're pissed and they're good pitchers. To answer your gold question, Let's look at it let's go back to eBay. Okay, why are these cards worth so much? Why is the Mantle card 60,000 for a PSA 9 1965 tops? Why is the Montana rookie 125,000 for a PSA 10? Because the supply is limited, because it's very hard to get a PSA 10 Montana and a PSA 9 Mantle 1965, because I can tell you the centering was horrible on the 65 and the 81. Why is the price up? Because the demand is huge and the supply is small. Now let's walk to gold, but let me read it. Well, gold has 253,000 tons. 32,000 ounces are in a ton. But it's not a lot because China has 60,000 tons. They buy by the tons. Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, they buy gold by the ton, not by the ounce. Only me and you buy them by the ounce because I couldn't afford a ton. No way, no how. So gold, it's kind of the demand. It's like the Montana card. It's not that rare. There's probably 100 PSA 10s, but there's a million Montana fans. So gold's fairly limited, but there's a million gold fans. And so all these countries are trying, because of our friend the dollar being worth shit, being worthless, going out, all these countries are getting away from gold. They don't want the sanctions. They don't trust Biden. Who does? We don't trust him either. So they're all getting away from dollars. Now, what's happened is, as I've said, if you're Egon and you live in Switzerland and you got to go to Germany, you cannot buy euros with Swiss francs. You have to sell your Swiss francs for US dollars and then take the dollars to buy the euros. So the dollar's all over the place, which means there's $130 trillion throughout the world being used on these FX conversions, which means you had to print 130 trillion. That's a lot of dollars. And then you have 20 trillion here that we've printed. So we have 20 trillion in circulation. It's 150 trillion dollars. Is that limited compared to our Mahomes 50 count? This is limited. 150 trillion is huge. So the dollar has no value, right? So everybody's getting out of the dollar. And that's why I use the Titanic scenario. So the boat's sinking. So you got to get off the boat into the lifeboat. And the lifeboat is gold and silver. So part of it is the demand is now running to gold as they realize the boat's sinking. And even on the Titanic, if you watch the movie in the beginning, when it hits the iceberg, nobody's running to the exits. They don't think we can't sink. We're the Titanic. And then the boat keeps going down further and further and further. And then the light goes on and goes, shit, we're going to sink. We better get the hell off. There's this mad rush to the lifeboats. And that's what's going to happen here. As the light goes on that this is sinking into the ocean, then here we go to the lifeboat. And at that point, that's when you'll see $50,000 gold. And so there's going to be huge demand for a limited supply because most of the supply is gone. Most of it's already bought. China's got 60,000 tons, Russia 30, India 10, Saudi Arabia probably 20, South Africa probably 10 or 15. Don't look at the central bank. Look at the banks and look at like Putin's backyard probably has 20,000 tons, not the central bank, but Putin's pool probably has all the gold in it. So don't get fooled by the central bank Jim Rickard stupid analysis, like he's an idiot going, well, Russia's only got 2,000 tons and we got 8,000. Yeah, okay. So you're like the stupidest man in the world, Rickard, if you think we have 8,000 tons because we don't have any. It's gone. So that's what's happening. Yes, there's huge demand. It's getting more and more, and the supply, you can't print gold, which is beauty. This you print to 150 trillion. This is only 250,000 tons that you dug out of the ground, and you can't print this. This is whatever comes out, and all of it, I'd say 99% of it's already gone. People already have it. Russia, China, India, they already have the gold. So there's very little free gold out there. The only reason I can get this at my coin store is because somebody came in to sell it because they're all excited. Oh, gold's 2,400. It's the new high. And I just look at the owner and we just go, we do a Bobby shake my head. We're like, these people are so stupid. When gold hits 20,000 an ounce, they're all going to kill themselves because they could have had it and sold it for 20 grand instead of 2,400 because they think it's a big deal that the price is 2,400 and they don't know. No, it's everybody getting out and COMEX being blown up. So the second half is the trading places example I gave, where Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd are in the pit and they're selling the orange juice at 142 and they bought it at 24. So you do the math. They did it in reverse. Normally you buy, then you sell. So if you buy a stock, you normally buy Coca-Cola at 40, it goes up to 50, you sell it. However, you could sell Coca-Cola at 40 and hope it goes down to 30 and buy it after. So you sell it first and then buy it and you hope the price is lower. Well, that's what's been going on in gold for 50 years. They've been manipulating. So anytime it goes up to 24.40, they are selling. They're putting their sell options in, and then they push the price down to 23.50, and then they're buying it at the 23.50. They sold it at the 24.50. They make $100 an option. But as Russia, China, and everybody else sees this, they're buying it at the 23.40. So they're going, oh hell, we can save $100 by buying it. However, that's being blown up because based on Basel III, the U.S. actually needs physical to do that option, not just before it was just paper. That's why it's called paper gold, because they didn't have any physical. So that's going away. So you're not going to see the drop. So it's going to go up and there won't be any option people selling to buy it cheaper. They'll be gone. So it'll go up and it'll go up and it'll go up and it'll go up. And there'll be too much demand, like the Montana card. So it ends up where this is 125,000 because ain't nobody profit taking the Montana card. So it was probably, I bought it for $200. It wasn't a 10, but it's pretty fucking close. I got to get it graded, but 200 and then 1,000 and then 5,000. It never profit takes. It never goes back. Montana hits 25,000. It doesn't go to 20. It goes to 30 and 40, and especially a PSA 10, especially 1981, which is hard to get centered. So some of these don't go down. They just keep going up or they stay even. That's Weimar Republic level of money printing. I agree with Andrew Jackson on central banks. Central banks are totally made off. They're totally Ponzi scheme. First of all, why would you give anybody a monopoly on money printing? Are you out of your fucking mind? That's incredibly stupid. That's what a central bank is. It's a monopoly on printing money. What they did before, would there be other banks? There'd be like a Bank of US and a National Bank of America and, the JP Morgan Bank, but they'd all print their own money. So if one fucked up and started inflating, you would sell their dollars and go to the other couple of banks. So they competed. This is why I teach competition. Everywhere with competition, you get a great value. You get laptops and phones, cheap and good quality, and TVs because of the competition. But when you get to monopolies, you never get that. It's more expensive and it's not that good. That's why monopolies suck. And we're living in what should be a Austrian economy competition. And that's the first thing I said with Adam Smith was, the guy goes into the bakery to buy a scone, or we'll call it a cupcake, and the banker across the street sees it. So he opens up and he starts selling cupcakes also. The price goes down, the quality goes up because he wants you to come to him. So he's got to make them better and bigger. And now you got competition at two bakeries and you're going to buy your cupcake and you don't, and versus only having one and he makes it smaller and not as good, takes out ingredients and raises the price. That's a monopoly. We don't want a monopoly. We want competition. We want two bakers fighting for our dollar. That is the only way to go. The central banks have the monopoly on printing money. And who do you think owns the central bank? Yes, JP Morgan, of course. So he prints all the money. He doesn't have competition, so he prints and prints and prints. Oh, I need $1 million. I'll print $1 million and put it in my pocket. And that's the problem with it. With gold, you can't do that. You can't print gold. You got to dig it out of the ground. You got to refine it, and then you got to heat it, and then you got to turn it into maple leafs or dollars or whatever. And you can't cheat it. You can only get what you dig out of the ground. That's the beauty of gold. Everybody likes it. It's money. So it's really the perfect money. And that's why you're supposed to back your dollars with gold to keep this controlled. Oh, I can only print so many dollars because you can turn it in for gold. And so therefore there's got to be the same amount of gold in dollars. So if I have $1 billion worth of gold, I can only have $1 billion worth of dollars. Oh shit, but I can't have a war because wars are very expensive. So I can't be on gold because I can't print more money to make more tanks and planes and missiles and stuff like that. And that's why everybody, since the Roman Empire has failed, they'll take their gold out of their money. So we go back to Rome, we go to Spain, we go to Amsterdam, we go to France, we go to England. They go to Napoleon, kills them. World War I kills England. Spain, they fucked up. They inflated their money. And Amsterdam inflated because all these were on the water. So they had the boats so they could trade. Right. So you get in the boat and you trade, whatever for whatever. And that's how you become rich because then you bring back furs from Russia and nobody has furs. So you can charge a lot. Or I know that was like Canada had like furs and stuff. So you're able to trade cotton for wheat or whatever it is, and then you could charge more, and that's why they were so successful. But then they print their money to death, and there they go. So the Romans showed us, yeah, we're strong and we can fuck it up too. And that's exactly what happens. So that's why you can't have monopolies, and why would you have monopolies on your money printing? That's the dumbest thing you could ever do. It's like giving the wife the checkbook. I mean, yeah, say goodbye to your money. Unless she's a shrewd finance person, she's going to just, oh, I want this and I want that. And she spends it all. And then you run out of money and then she leaves you for somebody with money. And no, that's not what happened with me, but that's what you have. What else? Nothing. The Weimar Republic level of money printing. Yes, competition breeds excellence. And that's the problem with sports. There really isn't the competition. I mean, like, look at the Pistons this year. They suck. They have no benefit. There's no reason for them to get better because they're going to take a chunk of the TV contract. And that's the same thing with football. The Lions never have to spend because they're going to get 1/32 of the TV contract. They get very little from the stands, and nobody wants their jerseys. And so Ford never paid for players. He says, well, I'm going to make $10 billion from TV, and I want the lowest payroll I can get. And I don't care if I put 8 people in the seats because all my money is coming from TV. So I don't care if we lose every game because I'm going to make money on the TV contract, which again takes away from the competition. But yes, we want competition. I do not wager on NBA games. I don't even watch NBA games. After Magic and Bird left, all they do is take 3-point shots. Yeah, okay. I can't even find baseball games to watch. And the only reason We watch football because we bet on it. It was ruled in a court of law that NBA sports is sports entertainment. So you don't bet on wrestling either? Well, it's still, there's lines on it. There's betting on it. There'll be a line tomorrow. Boston will be 7 points over Dallas. We'll bet on the game. So I don't mind that. Laugh out loud. I'd bet on the election. Do you think there'll be an election? I'm curious about that. So Biden's like 150 years old. He knows he's going to lose. You think there's going to be an election? You think he's going to allow it? I don't think there'll be one because they know they're going to lose. So it's not in their best interest to have one. So he could martial law it or he could come up with whatever. Look at Ukraine. They didn't have an election. Putin had an election because how could he lose, right? So there's a lot of elections happening in Europe. But I'm not sure I like Trump. I don't know that he's the answer. It's funny. 4 years ago, it was vote against Trump. We don't want Trump. And we got Biden. We got a Nazi running the place. And now it's vote against Biden. We want Trump. Well, wait a minute. I thought you didn't want Trump. Now you want Trump. We'd still be in the same mess because Trump didn't do anything with the debt. He puts what do you call them? Tariffs against China, which was a terrible idea. So I don't know what he did. Would we have these wars? Probably not, but we could have because the wars are a distraction. If you ever look at a magician like Chris Angel, Mind Freak, it's watch the left hand while the right hand does the trick. Why is there a war in the Ukraine when Russia's won 72-0? It's a distraction. So you're not talking about inflation and the debt and the massive unemployment and this depression we're in. You're talking about, I don't even know if we're talking about the Ukraine war. I doubt it. I do because of Jenna lives in the Ukraine. But she's in a safe place because Putin really just wants the Russian cities. Odessa, Kiev, Kharkov. She doesn't live in any of those. So she's really not being biased. Says, do you ever see the Russians? She says, no, they're 300 kilometers away and they're really not. She said, once in a while I get a missile that flies into our city and she cries, but generally no. And she wants me to visit her. I said, I am not going into a war. So we meet in Amsterdam or Germany or France or Spain or Portugal. That's why I go there and meet her. But it's only a week and it's expensive. And then what do we do? I've asked her to come here and you can stay here. She won't do it. Hence why I'm also talking to Daria. I bet on it. Who knows if there'll be one? Well, I'm just asking the question. I don't know. I'm not suggesting, but I am suggesting there might not be one, but there could be. No, he's 160. The kick midget. Welcome to the class, kick midget. He's 100. Well, yeah, he acts like 160. I'm sure he doesn't know what day it is. I don't think his son will see a jail cell on that gun charge. How about all the bullshit with the Russians, Chinese taking all the money, all the illegal shit? He's not saying anything. So this is the problem with the country. The laws aren't in existence. They're ignoring the laws because it's Biden's son, and then they're doing everything against Trump. And the kitchen sink thrown at him, and he's guilty of what? I don't even know what the charge is. It's ridiculous. Toyota, no, sorry, not busy. So I don't think he'll go because Biden's protecting him because he's running the judges and the DOJ. It's all run by George Soros, basically. We got $5 eggs Well, I go to Myers. I got 12 eggs for 380. I just bought, I think, 18 or 24 eggs for $5. So come to Myers in Detroit. You can get them cheaper. Um, Thanks, buddy. Happy to be here. Well, my pleasure. That's why I run a live show because I want the feedback. I want the questions so I can try to help. I'm here to help, basically. The table is blatantly tilted. Well, and that's why we all like buy our gold, because if you trust that this isn't that this is worth anything, then you're just blind to it. I'll go to people and I'll say, "Do you have gold?" And they look at me like I'm from Mars, and I'm like, "This is the only way out. This is safe. This is the lifeboat off the Titanic. Otherwise, you're going down to the bottom of the Atlantic." And people will look at me and they just have no idea. They don't want to hear it because they're going to get scared, and they don't want to smell what I'm cooking, because it's the realization that your money's, so you got 500 grand in the bank and you think, well, I'm going to retire. You ain't going to retire. It's going to be worth nothing. You have to get out of it into gold. Then you can retire and you don't have to ever worry about it. And nobody can give you an attack on Wall Street guy saying, yeah, that 60,000 in the real estate trust is worthless. Well, you never have to worry about it, because nobody's ever going to tell me this is worthless, and nobody's going to take it. So it's very, very safe. Detroit, I'll respectfully pass. I like it down here in the sunshine. Oh, I don't like Detroit either. I just happen to, I've been working here. Reality is too crazy, too scary for people to look at because they don't understand it. If they understood it, they would react to it, but they don't understand it, and they don't want to hear it, and that's the problem, and that's why they don't hold gold. And then when they get Madoff, then they wait, then they go cry, right? So what happens? Madoff comes around. I'm going to give you a 15% on your investment. Give me 20 grand. Well, how are you going to earn it, Madoff? I can't tell you. If I got to tell you, don't invest with me. Oh, no, no, because my Uncle Joe's getting 15% from you. So I'm gonna come aboard. How do you make the money? I can't tell you. But you go in because you know you're going to make the 15%. It's a Ponzi scheme. So you blindly go in and you're making your 15% for 5 years, 10 years. And then the bullshit happens. And then you say, oh, it was a Ponzi. I don't have any money. You're broke. And then you start crying. Oh my God, he Ponzi schemed me. Oh, I had no idea. Really? You didn't know how he made the money, but you got the 15%. Even when the market crashed in 2000, or when the market's dropping and everybody's losing, but you don't think something's funny? So don't give me that shit. You knew it was a Ponzi scheme, or you should have known something funny's going on. I'm getting 15% every month like clockwork, as is all my friends who are in the Madoff. So when he crashes, don't act like you're, oh my God, I didn't know. Oh my God, I'm broke. Fuck, you knew exactly. What pissed me off was when the attorney tried to make the people that had made money pay it back. Well, no, 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 no. I'm in an investment. So if I'm in Coca-Cola stock and I make 10 grand and then I sell it, 10 years later, you're going to come after me for my Coca-Cola stock that I made money on? Fuck you. I took a risk. I didn't know Madoff was a Ponzi scheme. I wouldn't pay them back a cent. First of all, that's gone. That's like coming back after a bet. Yeah, no, 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 no. I won the Minnesota game. I'm not giving you money back. What, are you kidding me? That's the part I didn't like. I thought that was unfair. Like, you're trying to make everybody whole. Meanwhile, the attorney made billions of dollars fucking around. There is no way I would have given. No, no, no. I had an investment and I made money on it. Why would I give it back to you? What's going on here? Really is too scary for people to look at. the blank stare you get from people, or they just argue when they don't know what they are talking about. Yeah, no, and that's the thing I get is I get a lot of blank scares, and they get scared and they start yelling because they're scared and they don't know, or they don't even know what to do, or what, you tell them, all your money is worthless. How much money you got in the bank? They don't even want to tell you that. Okay, let's say you have 300 grand in the bank. Do you realize it's worthless? Oh my God, there's no way. No, it isn't. Do you realize this has no value? They printed $150 trillion. It's not worth toilet paper. And look at Germany. Not only Germany, but look present day: Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Argentina, Sri Lanka, Greece. There's 15 countries that have inflation where their dollar isn't worth anything. Venezuela, you can't buy anything with Venezuela dollars. Zimbabwe, the guy had the whole thing carried equal like $1, and the guy had like a whole stack full of money that was worthless. So we don't have to go to the Weimar Republic. We can go to these countries I just suggested. Their dollars aren't worth anything. They can't buy it. See, that's why we buy gold, because this is the way it works. This will go to zero and you won't be able to buy anything with it. But this will never go to zero. This is your lifeboat. So when this goes to zero and you go to the grocery store and everything's really expensive in dollar. Oh, you want chocolate milk? It's $1,000 for chocolate milk because this is worth nothing. However, oh, you got a quarter ounce of gold. Oh, you can buy 100 gallons of chocolate milk, because in gold terms, the chocolate milk's a 50th of an ounce. Gold will never lose its value because you can't print it, and everybody wants it because they know it's money. So what's happening is, if we're in Venezuela, Zimbabwe, or wherever, this turns to shit, and all the prices on the shelves are in dollars. That's why it's so expensive. So you just don't carry dollars. You get out of the dollars and you have gold and silver. That's the key. But you be careful not to sell the gold to get back on the Titanic. Don't sell your gold for this unless it's a hospital or you want to buy a car, something where you need this. But otherwise, you never sell this until, it's going to go to the moon, maybe at 30,000 an ounce if you want to sell it and go on a vacation or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to Ruth Chris Steakhouse with this. I'm going to sell it, or somehow use my credit card and use this and then go to Ruth Chris with that money. But I'm not going to Ruth Chris. I won't be able to use this. So you use this, but I'm not taking this to do it. Although when I do go to my barbecue place, he will take my silver. So if I want to get ribs, I might go tonight. If I get ribs and chicken, it's like $22. If I get a whole slab of ribs, it's $28. And get a side salad instead of the coleslaw. Anyway, I'm at $30. If I bring an ounce of silver, he will take that for payment. And we've talked about it. He actually will listen about gold and silver. So we've talked about it. So he would, if I brought an ounce of silver in, he will take that for my meal. So he's smart enough to barter it, but he understands what's going on. Right now, if I go to other restaurants, will they understand? I don't know. These people are so stupid nowadays. They don't understand. This is what you want. This is money. We don't want this. Now, one thing that Mark McGuire is doing on his show, Andrew McGuire, he is coming out with like an account where you give him your gold, and then it goes onto a credit card, and you can use the credit card just like the regular credit card to pay for things. And I'm like, Mark, I don't want to use my gold right now. I want to use my cash. I want to use that up first. I don't want to pay for things with gold. I don't. It's too cheap. I don't. Gold's worth $23.50. Let's take a look. What's gold worth right now? Gold's $23.55 at 2 o'clock. and silver's at, let's call it 30. So that's what gold's at, going up and up and up. I don't want to use my card. I want this to go to 20,000 before I even think about using it. So I'm trying to hold on to my cash to pay my expenses and buy gold to store until the price goes up. So that's what the thought is. The dollar, we're going to be Zimbabwe, we're going to be Venezuela, our money's not. So if you live there, you'd think, well, why would it? Because they inflated, because they printed. Venezuela printed. It's worthless. This is what happens. This is what happens to the Romans, the Spanish, the Amsterdam people, the French, and the English. They all printed to death. We see it in Germany, as you suggested. They had to pay for World War I, which I thought was crazy because why Germany? There was like 8 teams playing in World War I. So I don't know why Germany had to pay for it. I don't know why anybody had to pay for it. So they printed money to pay for the war. And if you print money, it turns worthless. That's why you can't, these MMT people will say, just print the debt, print 35 trillion and pay the debt off. And you can't, because then the money loses value because you've printed so much. The more you print, the less it's worth. So it's not worth anything. So if you print it wouldn't pay the debt off. You would just have hyperinflation. Well, you'd have very strong inflation and you'd still have the debt because it wouldn't really make a dent. That's why you can't do it. Kicked midget. My parents have never had any precious metals because they felt like gold was a scam. So I bought some for them recently so that they will at least have something. That's very nice of you, Kick Midget. Why would they think gold's a scam? Gold's the only thing that isn't a scam. That's amazing that people get that because they don't understand JP Morgan doing the Eddie Murphy derivative thing. Which keeps the price down. So they don't understand why the price drops. It's fixed by JP Morgan doing the Eddie Murphy trading places thing. Excuse me. I do that with my girlfriend. I meet her she's in Ukraine. When I meet her, she wants jewelry. I give her, here's a couple half ounces of gold and 20 ounces of silver. And so she's got a nice little collection of gold and silver now. She doesn't understand it, but she's starting to understand, oh shit, this is going to be worth a lot. So what I'm really doing is rescuing her and taking care of her, but she just sees, why you give me gold and silver? Now the light's starting to come on, but I do that the same way. Like, she doesn't have any money, so she can't buy if she wanted to. But ask them why they think it's a scam. It's not a scam. It's funny because the banks are a scam and the Wall Street's a scam and stocks are a scam. Real estate trusts are a scam, but the one thing that's not a scam is gold. She thinks is a scam. Do they put their money in stocks and they think that's okay? They probably put money with Madoff and poor boy. Recently, so that they will have. That's very nice of you. That's how you pick a username that nobody else has. I've never seen Kick Midget before. Nothing. The barter system worked for a long time throughout history. Well, not necessarily. In Rome, it wasn't a barter system. They worked and got paid in gold and silver, and they used the gold and silver to buy food, houses, and stuff. The barter system really was really old. There used to be cows or chickens or rocks or something that used to be the medium of exchange. But you can't carry a cow or a chicken with you or rocks. Amsterdam had tulips. That used to be money. This is the best medium of exchange. It's paper, it's there, but you can't fuck around with it. That's why it needs to be backed by gold. But this fits in your wallet, and then you got credit cards with it. So that's the best. But the barter system, the reason it doesn't work is what are you going to barter with? Am I going to take my Canadian club and go to the grocery store? Am I going to take my Mahomes card and say, I would like a couple of steaks? Let's go to Ruth Chris's. So, what the medium of exchange is you get paid in this and you go shopping in this, and everybody accepts it. That's the idea of the medium of exchange. So, it's one item, and then everybody can take it. And the barter system, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the restaurant, and what are you going to barter? You get barbecue chicken. What are you going to give them? Silver's money. Don't misunderstand that. So they will take the silver, and that really isn't barter. They're actually getting paid. But what are you going to do? I'm going to give my T-shirt for the steak, or So that's why you need the medium of exchange. That goes back to Adam Smith. That's the best thing to use. And I get a paycheck. How are you going to get a paycheck? How are they going to tax you? So that's the thing. So that's why it always comes back to dollars. The problem is you can't fuck the dollars up. You can't have a central bank doing it, and you can't lose the value of it by printing 150 trillion of them. That's a sure way to make them worthless. And then how do you get paid? I'm going to get a new job, hopefully. How am I going to get paid? I want to get paid in gold. I don't want currency. Right? No. Don't pay me money. Pay me gold and silver. That's really what I want, but they couldn't do it. But I will take my money. I will pay my rent and my bills and take the rest of my money, and it goes into gold and silver. And these people keep selling their gold and silver because it's high, and I keep laughing all the way and dancing out of the store with my, I did this last week. And I dance out of the store going, I got gold. The guy wonders, well, why don't I just buy ounces? I go, well, I don't always have $2,500 to buy an ounce of gold, but this was $600. That I could give you $600. I can't always give you $2,500. And this adds up. You keep buying quarters and halves, and that's gold too. Kick midget, borrow against your gold. No, I wouldn't do that. They felt like the constant commercials trying to sell you gold were predatory. We're talking about why they think it's a scam. Well, they make spot on it. I don't know. You see Coca-Cola commercials. Do you think that's a scam? Fritos, pizza. It's just products trying to be sold. I wouldn't look at a commercial as a scam unless it's on one of these, the home shopping network or something. But you really have to understand gold, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach is what is it and why does it have a value? And it can't be scammed because they can't print it. That's why this is the scam. And that's what I keep saying. This is the scam. This is the Madoff. All the banks, all the Wall Street is the scam. Notice how they fuck up in 2008. What did they do? They bailed them out. Who bailed them out? They bailed themselves out. The banks run the country. They run the government. So when JP Morgan says that, give me $10 billion, the government didn't give it to him. He gave it to himself and he bails them out. So it's like us betting on baseball. We bet 10 grand on Houston and it loses. We go, bail me out. Give me my 10 grand back. That's basically what happens, right? They just bail them out because they make stupid things that they should never bail out. Sorry, you did it. Goodbye. No. There's no such thing as a bailout. You lose on a bet, you lose. You don't get the money back. But that's what they did. All this real estate trust bullshit should never have been paid back. Let them go out of business. Stop taking these stupid risks. But they do because they run the government so they can bail themselves out. Kick midget. Yeah, I try to get rid of my dollars as quickly as I make them. That's a good idea. Keep a little for bills because you don't want to sell your gold down, but that's a good idea. Like Nikki in casino, the banks. Oh, exactly. But that's where the problem is. I mean, what is the bank? They print the money out of thin air. Is that not going to be a problem? So, I mean, the gold you can't print. That's the beauty of gold. And that's why it's not a scam, because they got to dig it out of the ground. And you see this as a maple leaf and you see the gold shine on it. You never worry that this is not real. And you know it's limited because they can't just print it. There's no way you can print gold. And if you see it's a little orangey or it doesn't look gold, you know it. So I wouldn't buy it. Some of the Cougarans are a little bit like that, but they're older, and I buy them from my guy at the store, and I'm sure they're real. But the maple leafs are very much gold, as are the eagles, and the silvers shine nice too. So you know they're real. I suggest buying more gold than silver. Let's say you're going to Switzerland and you want to, give them the Egon, or you want to sell them. You put 5 in your pocket, 5 ounces, and they're going to be worth 20 grand an ounce. You got 100 grand. But how are you going to take like 100 ounces of silver? I mean, it's going to weigh a ton. I mean, you got that's 5 of the white things full of 20 each. You can't keep that in your pocket. So it's a little bit harder to walk around with than 5 ounces of gold. Nobody knows you have. They're in your pocket. You're fine with them. So that's my only objection to that. And if you're going to Switzerland to sell them, then it's probably much easier. Nothing. The banks. TK, have you ever seen the show on Outdoor Channel Gold Fever? No, I haven't. I didn't know it existed. And are you going to tell me what it's about? It's on the Outdoor Channel, so I'm assuming they're panning for gold in the Colorado River or Vegas. Sounds interesting. But I think that's what it sounds like if it's on the Outdoor Channel. Yeah, it's a guy who prospects. Yeah. And I'd rather just go to the store and prospect there than get my pan out. And what are you going to do with it? I mean, it's just pebbles. You know what's, if you've seen Money Heist, you know what they did to get out of the bank? They took the blocks and melted them down to little pebbles. Well, I didn't think those were like real. And then they took those, sent them through the pipe, and then melted them back and then made bricks out of them again. And I was watching something in China. Those little pebbles are all over the place. These people are buying these little pebbles of gold. I think they're like a gram or something. They're buying them like it's water. Chinese are buying gold like it's water. See, the worry about will the gold price go down or anything? No, because of demand. So this is where I take you back to economics and said, well, the demand for the Montana card makes it 125, or the Mantle card. It's the people wanting to buy it force the price up. And if you have more buyers than sellers, the price keeps going. So that's why I show you them on the Mahomes card. There's just 50 of these. So if I'm showing you a 50 count, we know there's more than 50 Mahomes guys. So the price has to keep going. Now on the Barry bonds, so I show you this. This is a beautiful red label, and there's 100 of them. The problem is it's Barry Bonds. So the demand for Barry Bonds, because he did steroids, is nowhere near the demand for Mahomes. So you have to be careful. That's where my baseball got screwed up. I have McGuire, Bonds, Sosa, Roger Clemens, and they all got fucked because they did steroids. Like, but why does that matter? I don't get that. McGuire could hit home runs before steroids. They don't help your hand-eye coordination. So I don't really get why nobody wants his card. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just a joke. But he's their Bonds. You tell me Bonds doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? 770 home runs. But let's not put him in. Pete Rose, oh, you bet on the games as a manager. Let's not put him in. I mean, it's a joke. It's getting to the point. Then they put on Herb Smith, who nobody ever heard of, is in the Hall of Fame because he's a broadcaster on ESPN or something. I mean, that's the problem with it. These Hall of Fames are a joke. You're not putting the best players in for some stupid reason. And it seems like it's all baseball. Rose, Bonds. How do you have a Hall of Fame without Rose and Bonds in it and Clemens? Oh, wait a minute. Mickey Mantle might have done a steroid. Let's take him out. Or Sandy Koufax, he had his arm problem, so he probably took steroids. He probably would have if they had steroids back in the 60s. He threw so hard, he threw his arm out. And so he could pitch, and then the pain was terrible in his shoulder. That's why he retired. So if he took steroids for it, oh my God, Sandy Koufax took steroids. I think Denny McClain took steroids. He won 31 games in '68, and he took injections every time he pitched. I think they were steroids. I don't know, but something like that. It's a guy who prospects. He goes all around. It looks like hard work. Yes, but do you get rewarded for the hard work? They help them recover faster. Yes, I understand that. Mickey Mantle's letter to the Yankees is a classic. What did he say there? He's the luckiest man. Now I know what Lou Gehrig thought. I have his when he retired at Yankee Stadium. Pat Summerall did it. Joe DiMaggio was there. And it was like a half hour. It's on YouTube, and I've seen it. See, the Yankees are cool. They had Babe Ruth, they had Lou Gehrig, they had Joe DiMaggio, they had Mickey Mantle, they had Derek Jeter. I mean, it's amazing how they get all these great players. And you look at these other teams, and it's like, who? The Tigers had Al Kaline. Okay, one guy. It's just amazing the way the Yankees get these superstar Hall of Famers all the time. Counting with a female fan, I'm sure he laid the smackdown on her. It must be hard for a guy like Mantle to be married because he probably gets hit on by so many women just to say, I slept with Mickey Mantle. That would be extremely tough. But, that's sports for you. That's part of the perks of being a professional athlete. Yeah, I know steroids help you heal, but it doesn't give you hand-eye coordination. So in other words, McGuire got 77 home runs that year, something like that, and or 75, 74. Okay, it helps him heal better, but it doesn't help him hit the home run, right? So if Spencer Torkelson on the Tigers does steroids, he's still only got 2 home runs. So it doesn't see. My point is, it doesn't help him hit a home run. Yes, it helps him heal, but it wasn't illegal. It was perfectly legal substance, and it's perfectly legal in baseball. So what's the problem? And I'm sure football players do steroids every week. So I don't get the problem. They didn't help him hit home run. They helped him get healthy, but he still needs the hand-eye coordination to hit the homers. So I agree. But yeah, man, see, that's what we're lacking in most sports. We have Mahomes and Burrow in football, but baseball, There's no Mantle. There's no Mays. There's no Aaron. There's no Clemente. There's no Koufax or Bob Gibson. Same thing in basketball. There's no Magic. There's no Bird. There's no Kareem. There's no Dr. J. It's a bunch of guys shooting long 3-pointers. If your best player is Luca Brasi, you got a problem. Right? If Dallas wins this with Luca Brasi, or Boston wins it with whatchamacallit, who's my guy? And the Raiders, Jack Tatum. If Boston wins with Jack Tatum or Dallas wins with Luca Brasi, there's a problem because these guys are nothing, right? They're nothing players. I'm not turning on to watch these guys. I'm not going to watch 1 minute of the NBA. There's nobody I'm going to watch. And Luca Brasi controls the games. It's like it's a big fat guy. I mean, he's not like Magic or Bird. What are you kidding me? Magic was beautiful to watch, and you had James Worthy, and you had Kareem, and Norm Nixon, and all these guys. It was beautiful to watch. Or Bird and McHale and Parrish. Luca Brasi, really? I'm going to watch that. To watch this guy, this big fat guy, roll around and pull shots out of his butt. No. Ellie De La Cruz is entertaining. He is slumping a bit now. The league adjusted to him. I don't know who that is. Paul Scans is pitching for the Pirates. He is certified nasty. I've heard that, but he's only pitched 2 games. Let's go through the season and see if his ERA is as good as Verlander's. So I don't know. Is he any good? I heard that on the Detroit radio. Should you go to the game? Like, is there anybody you go to the game for? So they're obviously listening to my class because I said there's nobody to go for, right? And so would you go see Scanes? No, I wouldn't go see. The only guy I would probably go see if I really wanted would be Verlander. That's it. Only because he played for Detroit do I even know who he is. Or Scherzer, who played for Detroit. Otherwise, Shotani, I wouldn't pay 5 cents for. The guy's a crook. He stole all this money and this whole gambling thing. Should be put in jail or whatever they do. And he blames the interpreter. Yeah, I didn't know he was taking $5 million from me every day. Okay, can I be your interpreter? What a joke that was. I watch them on TV and make wagers. You make wagers? What? I'm losing you there. I watch them on TV and make wagers. What does that mean? So you bet on them because they're on, and like Paul Skeens, did you bet him today for Pittsburgh? I bet the game under because the other pitcher is also a good pitcher, but none of them are there's no Koufax or Gibson or Steve Carlton or there's nobody in that league. Verlander's close, but that's it. One. It's just not the same now. Football's terrible. Well, football outside of like they try to sell Lamar as a good quarterback. No, he sucks. His over-under Ks is 6.5. What do you do with that? He's only pitched in 2 games. How could you possibly know if that's a good number or not? And how could you possibly know if the odds are proper? This is the problem with betting those assumption bets. You don't know if 6.5 is a great number or a terrible number. You don't know what the odds should be. What are the odds on him going 6.5? Should he go over or under? Who's he playing? Maybe they got a bunch of like girls slap hitters that they're going to hit the ball on. They're going to ground out. I mean, so until you see this guy play 10 games, I wouldn't even look at a bet on him. And then if he keeps striking out 10 and going 7 innings, okay. But they'll adjust the line to 10, and then you're not going to get anything. What I like is in football, the San Diego-Oakland game week 1, if that over-under is like 47, it's a lock under. I know what I'm looking for there. Or Georgia in college football, how many weeks did I lock the under a couple of years ago? It was like every week. It was a joke. And they'd win every game 34-0. And the over-under would be 54. That's what you want to do with the over-unders is look for a really strong defense and play it. Does this guy give you a real strong, decent? I watched him pitch. Dodgers at Pirates, over is 155. Good. Was that a good? That seems like a high number to me. So you got about 155 to win 100. And he's pitched in 2 games. So let's go into his. So he's pitching today. Paul Scanes, 2-0 with a 2.45 against James Paxton, 5-0 with a 3.29. So let's go into Paul Scanes. If you notice, this is the one time that the Dodgers are not 200 favorites. So he's pitched a whopping 4 games. He's pitched 4 innings, 6, 6, and 6. His strikeouts. He pitched 7 innings. He got 7 strikeouts his first game, and he only pitched 4 innings. That was against the Cubs, and against the Cubs, the next time he gets 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. Then against the 49ers in 6 innings, he gets 3 strikeouts. And then against the Tigers in 6 innings, he gets 9 strikeouts. So what happened against the 49ers? 3 strikeouts. I don't know. That's what I'd be worried about. But he's only pitched 4 games. Okay, yeah, he had an 11 and a 9 in 6 innings. The 7 in 4 innings, So you assume he's going to pitch 6. Why not 8 innings? This is the problem. Oh, Bobby would like him. He's from LSU. Good old boy, LSU boy. So that's what you have is 6 innings. I don't know what his pitch count is. Doesn't walk too many people. Only Frisco hit him for 6 hits, and the Cubs hit him for 6. He had a no-hitter against the Cubs on May 17th. Why the hell did they take him out? So he pitches 6 innings, a no-hitter, 11 strikeouts, and they pull the guy? Unbelievable. This is the problem I have with baseball. Why isn't this guy finishing the game out? He could have had a no-hitter. So he no-hits him for 6, and what, he's tired? Jesus, I hate that. And then against the Tigers, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, a walk, 9 Ks. They hit a home run against them. I think that was the home run in the last when he was coming out, and it didn't mean anything. So today against the Dodgers. So let's look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers hit 256, so they're a pretty good hitting team. The Cubbies hit 227, so that's what you expect. The 49ers hit 246. They beat them up pretty good, and the Tigers hit a whopping 230. So I would think they're going to hit them a little bit more. Hopefully he goes 6 innings. Are you going to get your strikeouts? You got 4 games in here. What are you going to do with 4 games? So that's what I'd be very careful about. Yes, he seems to it. 155, I think, is really high, bad odds. I don't know why it'd be more than 110 or 120 at most, 155. So you're not getting good odds, but you don't know it, right? You think, 155 to win 100, but those are really high odds. That shouldn't be close. So that's where they get you are on these little, how many home runs does the guy hit? How many wins does the team have? That's the biggest sucker bet of all. Pick the NFL teams. Okay, how many games are the Jets going to win next year? How the hell do I know? Is Aaron Rodgers going to play the full year? Does Mahomes get hurt? Fuck it. I'd rather just bet the teams as we go. I know the injuries. Why do I need to bet the team to win I think Detroit's going to, the Lions, I think they'll win 6 games. I mean, and what if they get injuries? Golf will get injured, then what? So that's my point. It is juice. Pirates are minus 155 for the first 5 innings. I wouldn't take that bet. I'm not on the Pirates to win. They might lose 4-2. I'm going to be dumb and parlay it. I want more sports books in Florida. The numbers on this app are terrible. So what I would say is I would bet the game. I bet the game under Pittsburgh under 8. I think that's a great bet. So we don't care how many guys he strikes out. He's not going to give up. He could throw the no-hitter. He only had 1 bad game against the 49ers. Here he gets the Rams. They seem to hit pretty well, a good average. But a good pitcher will beat a good hitting team. I'm not sure the strikeouts, but this is a good barometer. How does he do against – so he didn't do good against the Niners. How's he going to do against the Rams? That's what – because you're looking at the Tigers who suck, and you're looking at the Cubs. One game he did good, one game he did bad. This is a good barometer game. How's he going to do against the Yankees? How's he going to do against – well, he's in the National League. How's he going to do against Philadelphia? How's he going to do against Atlanta? The other teams in his division. And then you can make a judgment and go, okay, look, against Philly, he didn't have any strikeouts. That's what you got to understand. It's like Caleb against Notre Dame threw 3 picks. Now we know the real Caleb. We saw him against Notre Dame. If he would have lit up Notre Dame, that's a different story, but he didn't. But you know who did light up his teams was what's his name? The Washington quarterback. God damn it. I want to say Pansda, but I know that's not right. What the fuck's the Washington quarterback? Anyway, he lit up Oregon twice, the Washington quarterback. Nobody else did that. So that's why I like whatever the fucking guy's name is. What is his name? I can't believe I can't. I do that when I think of 12 things at the same time. Penix. Panda for some reason. So Penix against the big teams, Oklahoma twice, or Oregon twice, Texas, he lights them up. He scores 35 points. Caleb doesn't. Why would you think Caleb's going to light it up when he didn't against good teams? But Penix twice beat Oregon with that great defense, and he beats Texas, as well as Washington State and Oregon State, who have very good defenses. He lights them up. Well, he didn't do great against Washington State, but it was a rainy day. It was like 24-21 or something like that. I want more sports books in Florida. The numbers on this app are terrible. The Rams, yeah. I prefer football terms. Like they're always the Raiders. I don't give a shit if they are in Vegas or not. If I call them the Raiders, everybody knows who I'm talking about, right? If I call them Las Vegas, you have no idea who I'm talking about. But if I say the Raiders and the Raiders and the Chiefs are playing week 1, you know who the Raiders play. I think they're playing the Chiefs. The Raiders are playing San Diego. So instead of calling them LA against Vegas, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about. You wouldn't know what sport. But if I say San Diego's playing the Raiders or playing Oakland, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And they're Oakland Raiders to me. They're not fucking Vegas Raiders. They're the San Diego Chargers. They're not the LA Chargers. That's a bunch of bullshit. The only time I did was like when the Rams moved to St. Louis. I was calling them the Rams for 5 years, and then finally went to St. Louis, and then they go back to LA. What the fuck was that all about? There is interleague play. They probably play the Yankees. Maybe they could, and then that's what you want to see. Trends matter. No, they don't. Not anymore. They will always be the Raiders. Exactly. Why don't trends matter? Why do you think trends matter? They don't anymore. You have to understand trends are variables, and the variables are all fucked up because all the coaches and quarterbacks and everybody else is moving all around. So the trends are meaningless, at least in football. And in gold, when you're looking at COMEX, you can't look at trends because it's price fixed. So when a guy says, oh, in 2008, gold did this, so I'm thinking it's going to do that again, it's price fixed in 2008. That's paper gold, and we're getting into physical. So no, trends do not work. I was listening to some of these gold guys talk about cycles. That doesn't work either. Sorry, fellas. Learn your analytics like I know. Very analytical. I know what variables are important. And sorry, cycles are meaningless. Too many variables. Trends in football are meaningless because what trend do you use? Do you use the New England Tom Brady trend? Oh, no, he hasn't been there for 4 years. We're going to use the New England Mac Jones trend. No, he's gone. He's on Jacksonville. Well, we've got a new quarterback at New England, which we're not sure if it's Brissett, probably Brissett. What trend do we use? You can't use any because he doesn't have any trends at New England. Belichick's not there anymore. So you can't use the only teams with trends. In football, you can use Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati a little bit with Burrow. He's been there a couple years now. Dallas. That's about it. Too many teams change coaches. Too many teams change quarterbacks. It's more the quarterbacks. Like Denver was Sean Payton, but they're Russell Wilson. He's not there anymore. Seattle, you had Russell Wilson for 10 years. Now you got Geno Smith. So you got like 2 years of Geno Smith trends. Okay. I'd just as soon play the defense if they got a good one or a bad one. I got a good quarterback or a bad one. It's much simpler, and the results are 1,000 times better. So trends do not work when the variables change. So you can use your Kansas City trend because Mahomes and Reed have been there. Even though you lost Tyreek Hill, you still have Kelsey. However, try using the trend on Denver with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Good luck. You have no trend to look at. Alabama, you've got Nick Saban's gone. Milrose is probably gone. They're going to go to the Washington offense. Good luck there. Good luck with Washington College. Their coach is gone. Their offensive coordinator is gone. Penix is gone. How the hell are you going to trend that? That's why they don't work. Well, exactly. There will always be the Raiders, and they'll always be the Chargers. They'll always be the Packers and the Steelers, no matter what. TK, did you catch any of the boxing from the last few weeks? No, not a big boxing fan. No. The only time I ever kind of bet on boxing was when Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns was favored, and it was great being the bookie because the people had to lay the odds, but if you're the bookie, you're getting odds. So I had Sugar Ray Leonard plus like 130. So they're betting like minus 130 to win 100, which means I got 130 with Ray Leonard. That's the beauty of being the bookie. And when Leonard won, it was wonderful. I like Leonard anyway. So, but that's it. I mean, the Hagler, Ali a little bit, but there's nobody. Who are these guys? Fury and Usyk, Wilder and Zhang. I'd rather watch the old wrestling. I've never been a big sports guy. Just stick to math and science stuff. Oh, that's okay. Although you do good in football with your analytical ability. I'm into sports because I played sports when I was a kid. I played little league, played basketball, played a little football, but once I got into high school, the guys got too big, so I got out of that. I started playing golf. So I played golf and softball and baseball. really good baseball player, and a really good golfer. That's what I went into. But so with sports, it helps me in these interviews because I say, well, I want to be part of the team, and I'm very, I'll play any position. I just want to play. I just want us to win. So you use a lot of sports analogies, which they like because it is a team. So I'm like, well, where the hell is this contact with the? Did I get the job or not, or am I? I guess I'm too early. Anyway, um, that's how I played it. But if you're analytical, I don't know what to call you yet. I got to come up with your nickname, Kick the Midget. Um, Math and science and stuff. Well, see, use the math for gold analysis, use the math for, like you can use it in baseball to analyze, or football to analyze trends. So you're going to bet on football, use your math to do trend analysis. This is what I do to try to figure out the winner. So you've got a game. I'll give you a game here. You got San Francisco plays Arizona at 3:40. Well, I'll give you a night game. Kansas City against Cleveland, 6:40. It's 3 o'clock. Brady Singer, 4-2 with the 2.63 against Nick Sandlin, 4-0 with the 2.77. Cleveland's a 125 favorite, over under 8.5. Kansas City's 36-26, and Cleveland's 40-20, and they're both in the American League Central. So tell me, using your math skills, how you would try to get variables to figure out and predict the winner. I will tell you, I took the game under because both starting pitchers have very low ERAs. And so I came up and deducted under. Yesterday, I had the Cubs as a 10 unit and it won. Today, my 10 unit is Kansas City under 8.5, which actually is this game. So that's what you have, is that's how you start using your math. And then it was like you get baseball cards, so you start looking at the stats on the back. That's what gets you in math and numbers. So that's how I got into it. It was baseball cards, got me into math, got me into sports, got me into numbers. And then so I got a business degree, and then I got a master's in finance and economics because I wanted to do more with the math. So I got to be patient here, waiting for this job that I would have thought I would have gotten already, but it's going to take a little bit longer. They were really slow. It took a month to get the interviews, and then I get 3 interviews. I do great on all 3, but it took a month. I remember this was early April, and here till the middle of May we didn't hear, and then we finally hear. So what I tell people is, if you don't know what you want to do, what don't you want to do? And if you don't want to do X, Y, and Z, that'll help you eliminate those. So I was talking to a lifeguard. She's like in high school. I'm in the pool running, and she's kind of there sitting and watching. Not me, but the whole pool. But it's not that busy. And she goes to me. So I go to her, well, what do you want to do? Like, she's in high school. What do you want to do? I don't know. I says, well, go backwards. What don't you want to do? And then work your way. I don't want to do this, this, and this. It'll help you think about what you do want to do, or at least eliminate all the stuff you don't want to do. The bottom line is, you want to make money because you want to buy gold and want to have a nice life. And so you need a better skill set, which will pay you more money, and then you can live nice. So that was what I tried to do. Nothing. USIC, Unified Cruiserweight and Heavyweight. Ukrainian gold medal Olympian. Okay, well, I'll give it to the Ukrainians. And I notice he's not in the army right now. It's difficult for me to hit a golf ball without stepping like it's baseball. If you ever watch Steve Scheffler, he does exactly what you do. He it's a different turn because I know I have the same problem. I'm used to kicking my leg up. So when I hit the golf ball, my left foot kind of comes out because I'm used to hitting the baseball too. And it's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as you roll, the key to golf is rolling your wrist, right? So as long as you go back and then when you get near the ball, you roll them, that's where your power is. And you're shifting your weight onto your left side. So it doesn't matter if your foot moves a little. Watch Scheffler. Kick midget. A lot of people just call me kicked. Okay, I'll think of something. Old school cars will get you into bad bubble gum too. Well, okay, I don't eat the bubble gum, but whatever. I remember I used to go to a vending machine at a drugstore by my house, and you take a nickel, you put it in the slot, you pushed, you pulled it out, and you get 5 cards. And it was so exciting. And they were all brand new, and you loved it. Especially then, it was in the 60s. So you got, oh, I got a Mickey Mantle, or I got the, I don't know what happened to those cards, but I didn't have many nickels to do it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a shame because I wanted to get like Bobby Orr cards, right? So I could go to the vending machine in the 60s and if they had hockey cards, I remember pulling like one pack out of it. It wasn't even a pack. You put a nickel in, you pulled it, 5 cards came out. That would have been nice getting Bobby Orr cards in the 60s. I got one. It's the 69 card. It's in perfect condition. We'll have to see. Gold medal, kicked. Kicked. I mean, I have no idea why any of those metrics mean, but my statistical mind would let me to run long-term multivariate analysis of the trends to determine the metrics for predicting a winning team. Well, kicked, what you got to realize is what I try to explain to people. You have to know which variables are meaningful and which ones aren't. And that's what happens. You get lost in all the variables and it doesn't tell you anything, or you just happen to get lucky. So the one I use is football. When they do the analytics and they go, oh, you should go for 4th down and 2. The odds are 51 or 52% to make it. So therefore you should go for it. And the argument I have is it doesn't break it down by team, and it doesn't break it down by if you miss, the consequences are like the Lions. They went twice against the Niners in the championship game, didn't make either, and ended up losing because it gave San Francisco momentum. And so if you just superficially look at the algorithm and say, oh, 4th down, you should go for it because you're going to get it more than 50% of the time, I'm going to question, well, wait, against San Francisco or Dallas or Kansas City, you're not going to get it any amount of time. You're going to get it 0, so don't even go for it. Had the Lions kicked those field goals, they would have won. So I blame the coach for being an idiot and not knowing what he's doing and just relying on analytics. So you can't get too caught up on math only. You have to understand both sides of it. If I make it and if I don't make it, even if it's 52%, I make it. But what happens when I miss? I lose 98% of the games I'm going to lose if I go for it and I don't make it. And that's the other part of the equation that they're not discussing. So they just think, oh, I'm supposed to go for it. They go for it. They don't make it. And then they lose the game. It happened with Oregon, Washington in college. Oregon has the ball. The game's over. There's a minute and a half left. They got the ball at midfield, punt the ball, 4th and 1. He goes for it. He doesn't make it. 2 plays later, Penix, boom, boom, touchdown. Washington beats them. All Oregon had to do was punt the ball into the end zone, just punt it, make them go 80 yards. But no, you gave them momentum, which you must variable in your equation, momentum. But how do you do that? And then if they add that in, if Oregon knows if I don't make it, I lose, are they still going to try it? Who knows? But all he did was go for it. And that's why Washington made it to the championship game and not Oregon, because they lost that game going on 4th down and not making it. And then Penix beat them. That's why I like Penix. He came down and won. But that's what the danger is with your thinking. You have to do more than stats. You have to come in like me, understand matchups, understand the team. Here's what you're going to lack. Is it a revenge game? Did the team lose last time and they're off of a loss? Does the team need the game to get into the playoffs? How do you put that in your stats? And that's what's lacking for most people. They don't get that. How do you factor in an injury? See, there's a lot of different variables. I'm talking football that you have to factor in to try to predict that stuff. I know it. So I've got it factored in. It's called risk, and I don't bet those games. If Aaron Rodgers is out, I ain't betting the Jets. I might bet him under, but I'm not taking the Jets. Now with Aaron Rodgers, then it's a go, but I don't need Matt to tell me that. Nothing. If you are opening packs with gum, you better not eat that shit. Well, I'm not opening packs with gum, but if I got some 1968 cards, I probably am not eating the gum either. I don't know too many. We get the pack with the gum. I mean, you're talking 1960s. Maybe, but yeah, I'm not eating it either. Kicked. That's true. You can get lost in the sauce if you focus too much on something and get tunnel vision. I'm going to lack experience, which is what would help me determine the external confounding variables that would affect the outcome. Right. And I get that because betting on football since 1968, I know all the variables to look for and what not to look for. Like turnover margin is totally useless. Time of possession is totally useless. If I get a pick six, I didn't run any time off the clock, but I'm winning. That's why I go to defense. I don't need an algorithm to pick football. I use the defense. You got a real strong defense. You got Kansas City's defense and Mahomes. You're going to bet them most of the time because of those two variables. And then I figured out teams with bad defenses, you either bet them over. You can never bet on them because you can't trust the defense to hold the team. So if Detroit's playing Green Bay, I'm betting over because both teams have good offenses and weak defenses. Arizona, Miami. So so that's what I do is I rank the teams over or under and A team or Z team. Are they really strong or are they really bad? So I get a feel of who I've got. Baseball is really tough to do this, not like football. Football, you get a team that scores 30 a game and gives up 15, like Georgia. That's an A team. But in baseball, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at baseball. I can't. There's a few Z teams like Colorado, like they score 100 runs, give up 200. Okay, they're a bad team. The Chicago White Sox, California Angels. That's about it. I mean, it's really hard. I got the A teams as Kansas City, Cleveland, Baltimore, Atlanta, and probably the Yanks, Milwaukee, Philadelphia. So you got your real good teams, but baseball, it's too much. It's every day. You don't know what you're getting. Football's once a week. I pretty much know what I'm getting in football. Once a week. Baseball's every day. It's very hard. That's why I go after the pitching. So when I got Verlander, he's rested for 5 days. I know what I got. He's been a little inconsistent coming off the injury, but we can go to these other. I can go to, I find other like really low pitchers. Let's see. Like Jose Barrios on Toronto is 5-4 with a 2.78. I'm not getting all excited about him, but he's probably a good under. What kills me is the pitch count. What the fuck is that? What do we have a pitch count for? When the guy gets tired, take him out, but let him pitch as much as he can pitch. I want him to pitch 9 innings because I can't use him for 5 days. Why do I want to pull him after 5 innings? Oh, he'll get hurt. Really? Do we know that? Do we know if a guy pitches 100 innings, 100 pitches, he's gonna get hurt? Do we really know that? And what's the difference? You trade all these guys; they're all free agents. They all come and go. What the fuck do I care if I hurt him? He's not gonna be on my team next year anyway. So I don't really care if he gets hurt. I don't really care anything. That's the whole point of it. Is I don't care about the guy, and then I don't care about why only 100 pitches in and then he's gone for 5 days. You ain't pitching for 5 days. You're pitching 8 innings, 9 innings. And if you have a 7.8 ERA, you're gonna go work at the grocery store. You're not gonna work here. But now it's too easy, and it's still all these injuries, and they're going 5 innings, and they have all these injuries. It's just amazing. Sports they're just losing it. All right, let's see what our gold's at. All right, gold. Gold's up to $23.55. Silver, $30.02. So will Eddie Murphy come in at $23.55 and sell to buy it at $2,300? That's what the game's been. That's what the game was yesterday. Today, you notice they've been buying it. So they're going to sell it at $23.57. But they bought it at 23. So on a day like today, they bought it at 23.30, and now it's up to 23.57. That's the Ponzi scheme of what's going on in COMEX. So today they're buying, goes up, then they sell it, it goes back down, and then they settle on their option, and that's why it's such a joke. It's not controlled by the free market. It's controlled by the Ponzi scheme. It's controlled by the options. And that's not what the real gold price is, not 23.55 or 23.20. It's 20,000 because of all this derivative and options that should never. This is the option market. Where is the physical market? I can't believe we don't have one. But people like Luke look at this thinking this is the price of gold when I keep telling them this is the paper price. We don't know what this price is. We assume it's 700 because of the paper price being 23.55, but that's not the real price. The real price of this is probably 10,000 because the real price of gold is undetermined because we're looking at a paper derivative price. And the game is when it goes up, I'm going to sell it. And when it goes down, I'm going to buy it. So it's low. I'm buying it today. It goes up. I want it to go up, and now I'm going to sell it. And that's the Ponzi scheme. Unfortunately, I can't understand why all the commodities, not just gold, silver, orange juice, coffee, are all playing the same game. It's a fucking joke how nobody's pricing physical gold. Blows my mind. But it keeps being attached to the paper price. 23.55 is the paper price. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, well, it'll go to 3,000. That's still the paper price. It still won't mean anything. It's still not the physical price. And I don't know how we're going to get to a real physical price, but that's got to be the idea of it. Anyway. Well, I mean, I think what you do is you watch the games and you try to. The best way to do this, Kick, is you watch that Kansas City Cleveland game today. And then you try to understand what happened and look at it now and make a pick. And then mine's under, take under. Why did I bet it under? Because both pitchers have good ERAs. Both teams can't hit too well. The bullpens are a little weak, but what am I doing? I'm betting on the starting pitcher with a good ERA will keep the score down. That's what I'm betting on. Okay. So with that standpoint, that's my thought process, but it works very well. The starting pitching works very well on my picks. I've been doing very successful picking the starting, looking at Verlander against some pig, and Verlander wins. So I'm getting very good at that. So keep that in mind. Try to figure out why you won or why you lost. And a lot of times you're going to find out in baseball, the averages get you, right? Some guy with a 180 average batting average gets 4 hits and 2 home runs, and you lose. And you're like, well, shit, the guy, he's got a 180 average. He should go 0 for 4. And then you got your 300 hitter, and the 300 hitter goes 0 for 5. So you're counting on him to get the hits. He doesn't get the hits. And the guy with the 180 average gets the hits, and you're not counting on him. So they kind of balance, but that's the problem. Baseball, you're dealing much more in average than in football. Football, you're not dealing in average. Defense, if the defense averages 18 points a game after 10 games, that's really not the average. That's the expected outcome. They're going to give up under 20 points. And when you got Mahomes, you're expecting certain things. Lamar, you're expecting certain things. So when the Lions take the field, I'm expecting them to get 25 points a game and give up 30. Depending on who they play now, if they play Baltimore, I'm expecting them to score 5 points and give up the 30 because of Lamar or Kansas City or any of these teams. I'm expecting, look at the playoffs. Tampa Bay, they gave up 24. Frisco or LA, they gave up 24. And against the 49ers, they gave up 34. That's why they lost, their defense. I mean, and then they don't fire the coach. You're not going to change your defense because he's going to run the same defense. So you could draft Deion Sanders for all 4 of your defensive positions. They're going to help you. You're still going to be in trouble because your defensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. So that's what you look. That's why you know the team, and you're not as much dealing in average. Yeah, Detroit gives up 30 points. But you know what the other team is. It's Lamar, it's Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow. You know they got good quarterbacks. They will score. Against the Carolina or Atlanta, they don't have good quarterbacks. They're not going to score. So that's why the key's understanding the quarterback. So that's really what you're trying to do in everything in life is understand what the variable is and understand when it counts and when it doesn't count. Kicked. Yeah, I might simulate some betting scenarios and watch games that are a lot of different things that I want to learn. I don't have much time with work and school. Well, I'm just saying, just to kind of don't even do that. Just watch it. Like me, I'm just watching. So I got, Kansas City under 8.5, 2 good pitchers. I've kind of figured out that's really the best way to bet the game is the good ERAs versus the bad ERAs. And I'm pretty successful at that because I'm realizing the batting averages don't mean shit and the bullpens don't mean shit because you don't know who you're getting. And the managers have a tendency of pitching one reliever for 1 inning and then another reliever and then another. So in 4 innings, he'll have 4 different pitchers. What the fuck is this manager doing? What a fucking idiot. If the guy gets out 3 guys boom, 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 and 10 pitches, he's pitching the next inning and the inning after that. And if he can't go 3 innings of pitching to 3 guys, 3 guys, 3 guys, then he needs to go play tennis. He ain't a baseball player, and that's the manager's fault. They fuck these people over where, oh, you don't have to pitch for 5 days and all that. And it's just, and even the pitchers mentally are going, oh, it's near 100 pitches, I'm going to get pulled. That's not what you want. You keep going until you run into problems, and then you figure out how to get out of the problems. Now you're a pitcher, and that's really what it is. But yeah, it's a shame baseball right now. Really, really pretty bad. Most of the sports are pretty bad. Basketball's gone to 3-point shots. And so now they're under the they're for a layup, they shoot it out for a 3-point shot. And the odds on getting it are like 15%. So what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, sports has gone down a lot. But, just try to understand it, Kick, that the score ended. Somebody won, somebody lost. How did it happen? What was the trigger? You're looking at a football game, and I can tell you how to bet every football game. But we won't go 100%. We're going to lose a couple. Why? The quarterback throws 4 interceptions. The running back fumbled the ball. There was 2 punt returns. There was 2 pick sixes. That's how I lose. I lose on an injury or a pick six or something. That's why I try to stay away from the strong defense. The strong defense is going to beat you, right? Baltimore, KC, I went under in the game, and KC was the dog. I took KC as the dog. But if you got the Lions facing Kansas City, I'm not going to take the Lions because they're not going to do anything against the KC defense. That's the problem. They played Baltimore last year. They lost 34-3 or something like that. So when you get an offensive team like Detroit or Miami, and you see it all the time, they get in against a good team, they get killed because they don't have a defense. And what happens? The quarterback throws 3 interceptions and they lose because he's not going to play his normal game because he's playing these guys. He's playing against a really good defense, and he's going to have a lot of turnovers. That's why I like Penix so much against his Oregon defense. They were great, and he just ate them apart. If he can do that against Oregon, he's not going to have any problems. So that's why I like Penix. It's who they do it against is what you're really looking for. Nuttin' legend pitchers wouldn't waste a dry fart on a 100 pitch count. I was going to say, you try to pull Nolan Ryan out, Jack Morris, forget about it. Never happened. Imagine telling Nolan, oh, there you go. Nolan Ryan, you're pulling him at 100. I remember there was a game, Nolan Ryan against some other Steve Carlton or something, and they both pitched 200 pitches. And it was like a 11, 12 inning game. Look at Jack Morris in the World Series for, what was it, Minnesota, I think. And he pitched 10 innings, and they won 1-0 or 2-1. It was against Atlanta, and he probably pitched 150, 160 pitches. Not a problem. I mean, that's the problem. You want the pitcher to go out and win. Now all he's worried about is, well, I got to pitch my 100 pitches and I'm out of here. And now I'm noticing they're only going 85 pitches. And now I'm also noticing, third time through the lineup. We can't have him go 3 times through the lineup. What the fuck is 3 times? If you dominate the other team. Now, I played baseball, and when there was a good pitcher, you didn't want to see him. And when they would pull the good pitcher out of the game, you were all excited going, now, this guy I can hit. That guy I couldn't hit. I think it's stupid. See, this is where you get into the problem of the analytics. Well, third time through the lineup is going to be a problem. We don't want to do that. This is why analytics is killing baseball. Okay, we'll just have the starting pitcher go 5 innings or 6, but when he gets to the third time through the lineup, they'll pull him. I never heard that stat before. So now we need 10 bullpen guys. You know how many major leaguers that you have on your 10 bullpen guys? Maybe 2. And then times it by the whole league. You got 300 bullpen guys, and you maybe have 10 that are professionals. The rest are minor leaguers. So the thought process to have all these pitchers is not a good thought process because there's not enough available to you. There's no 300 pitchers. And then let's look at starters. You need 5, 6 starters to go every 5th day because you're only going 5 days, 100 pitches. You're fucked because there's not that many good pitchers. And that's the problem with the league. The league is so watered down. The pitching sucks. The hitting's terrible. Every team's got 5, 6 hitters that can't hit 200. Most of the pitchers suck. 6, 7, 8 ERAs. It's just pathetic. So keep that on your mind. Anyway, they pretty much celebrate the pitcher going 6 innings. Well, what did they do in Verlander when 8 against the Tigers? He had a 2-hit shutout. The thing that kills me is the pitcher will go into the 7th with the no-hitter. If he keeps the no-hitter, all of a sudden he can miraculously pitch 9 innings. But as soon as he gives up a hit, they take him out. That happened to the Tiger guy, I think Saturday. He's got a no-hitter going into the 7th, gives up like a broken bat single, and the manager pulls him, and you're like, what an idiot. They can't hit the guy. What are you going to do, bring in the bullpen and hope they can't hit him either when you already got a pitcher that they can't hit? It's just ridiculous. Anyway, let's go through baseball again. Houston, 5 units. Colorado over 11, 5 units. Philly, 5 units. KC under 8.5, 10 units. Pitt under 8, 5 units. Tampa over 7.5, 5 units. Toronto under 8, 5 units. The Cubbies under 9, 5 units. San Diego under 8, 5 units. So those are the bets. So kick then. So look at one of my bets, Pittsburgh, Toronto, and what did I do? And then watch the game and see if I picked it right or not. And if I did, how did I get it right? And if I didn't, what did I do wrong? Most of the time, like I had a starting pitcher with a 2 ERA, gave up 6 runs in the first 3 innings. I think that was the Cubs guy yesterday. And how do you predict that? Can you predict that? Probably not. You just look at you look at the history to get to the future. So there's really not a lot you can do, but you have to understand that's why you can't bet a lot on baseball. And that's why you realize what you're doing. It's a bunch of averages. So you take that into consideration. But that's what you got. I'm going to go swimming, although I think it's raining outside. It's pouring outside. But I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat something. I got chicken, but I'm too tired to make it. I'll make it later. I was going to go to barbecue tonight. I might do that. Okay, Kicks. But that's what you should, I know you don't have time, but you don't need much time. I mean, just look at one game and try to figure it out. And then you start looking at a few games. It's not a lot to figure. You're looking at pitching, bullpen, batting average, the hitters. That's all you're looking at. And then you're trying to make heads or tails out of it. And it's very hard because the averages lie. I mean, the guy has a 2.0 ERA, gives up 8 runs. The guy has a 6 ERA, gives up 1 run. Well, you're totally not getting what you're expecting. They're not smelling what the rock's cooking, so it makes it very difficult that way to do it. Yeah, I like getting the ribs and chicken, and I was waiting to get the job, so I'm kind of maybe not going tonight, although I could. But I'm so excited about getting the job with the recession on its way and the dollar going out. I would like to work and buy as much gold as I can before the America blows up, and we'll all be speaking Chinese and Russian. Fortunately, Daria knows Russian, so I'm okay. Um, haven't heard. I heard from Daria at like 3 in the morning. She wasn't working. Let's see, what is Daria? Last seen at 3:39. So I stopped looking because this is what frustrates me is I'll look at her, she's on, but she's not saying hello. So it frustrates me. So I'm not doing that. So so she came on at 2:44 a.m., which is 9:44. I am good. I am at home today. And, at least I got the high and I'm okay. That's all I can really ask for. And then once in a while, she'll get home and she'll say, "Oh, I just got home from work. I'm going to have dinner and go to sleep or something." So anyway, so that's good to get that from him. I'm waiting to meet her, so hopefully we can meet soon. If I get the job, then it'll be remote so I can go to Serbia and meet her for a week and work, and we'll have our vacation. And if I don't get the job, I can still do that. The job isn't contingent on me going on the vacation, but if I have the job, I can work from Serbia or Amsterdam, wherever I go. So that'll be nice. But anyway, I'm surprised. I haven't heard anything, yay or nay. I talked to the recruiter who was going to call the guy. So I don't know what they're looking at. I did give him references, which is a good sign. I think I have the job, but I'm waiting for the official. You got it. And then it's barbecue. And, and then I think I'm going to go up north shopping to one of those malls discount malls, and go buy a bunch of pants and shirts and just adjust the wardrobe. But I'm waiting for that, or I'm waiting for gold to go to get the physical 10,000. Then we won't need to be working. So that's where gold really comes in. It's funny how Egon always says gold's wealth preservation. And that's where I argue with them going, well, the dollar's going out, so you buy gold to keep your value, but gold's going to go way up in value. And so it'll be a great investment also because the demand will push everybody into gold because there's nowhere else to go. And then the price goes up. So if you're holding gold, I bought it 1,700 an ounce. We're at 23.50. We're going to be at 35. We're going to be at 5,000. Don't tell me I'm not making money on it. That's not why I bought it, but in my mind, it is also why I bought it. I bought it to get out of dollars, but I know it's going to go up. And I know stocks, as soon as the stock market crashes, there's going to be a lot of people broke because they'll be out of, they'll lose all their money in stocks basically. And then they'll lose all their money in the bank. Don't leave your money in the bank, please. Put it in a fucking safe if you're afraid to buy gold with it. But as I say, I can always go back to the coin store, give them this, and get my $700 back. That's not a problem. So it's not like I've spent this and bought this and this has no value like if I bought like my Canadian club. So I spent this to buy that. So this is gone and now I have this. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm spending this to buy this. And this I can turn around and buy this again. So this I didn't really spend anything. I just transferred my money from this to this. And by the way, you can't tax me on that. And there's no interest income on this. So and nobody knows you have it. Shh. So that's all what's going on. All right, I am out. Time zones can be a real, yeah. You get used to it. You understand it. I got to meet her, and we hope to meet soon. But it's just, I know, like right now, they're sleeping, the girls. And then when I go to bed about midnight, they're kind of waking up shortly after that. So most of the time I'm sleeping, they're in their morning and early afternoon. And when I get up, they're in their late afternoon and ready for dinner. And then, so I got about 5 hours with them. But the thing I got to realize when you're dating a girl in Russia, Ukraine, is, they're cooking dinner and Daria's got a daughter. Jenna's got a son, but she doesn't deal with the son too much because he's older, but Daria's got the daughter. So she's cooking and taking care of the daughter. And so it's not just sitting there. Jenna's more sitting there. She doesn't work and she's relying on me. So right now, that's where we're at. But that's the difference of the two. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, this war ends. The U.S. doesn't want it to end because they want to deflect the recession and the border and everything else into, well, no, it's the war with Russia. Not that we fucked up the currency. So that's what they're trying to do. Anyway, have a good night. I am going to swim and go probably get barbecue or something. Probably I'll make chicken. I'll barbecue up my chicken at 9 o'clock or something for tomorrow. That's the only thing. I got like 5 chicken breasts in the pack, and I'll just um, cut them up, put them in the broil them up like steaks, and that's it. And I'll just I don't care if I do it at 9 o'clock and then have it for tomorrow and the next 3 days. I'll have chicken in my salad and chicken. Okay, Kicked. Welcome aboard. You two nuttin'. Have a nice day. Just try to use logic. Listen to what I say. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm trying to educate you into reality of what's going on because I am fortunate enough to get a master's in Austrian economics. So I know exactly what's going on and I can explain it well. Most of these you ever listen to Rick Rude or half these guys, Mark McGuire, Alligator? I don't know what the fuck they're saying. What are you guys saying? Mark McGuire with the ring fence. You're like, what are you saying? In the casino. So anyway, it's supply and demand. If there's demand for this, the price goes up. If there's not demand, if there's no demand for this, then the price goes down. That's all. That's the simplest way. And then you got to ask yourself the question: is there demand? And that's it. And we buy mantle cards because there's huge demand, or we buy Bobby Orr cards, or Mahomes, or Tom Brady because we know there's Joe Montana. There's demand for it. So that's why you go after the stars. There's demand. The price is going to go up. Nobody wants to go after Joe Smith because who's he? There is no demand and the price is never going to hold. So we want to avoid. We want to make money is what we're trying to do. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good night. It's been 3 hours, so I'm exhausted. Buying brass. Well, I would, buy silver and copper and gold, but yeah, I mean, I've thought about buying a little bit of brass to so you think you're taking my gold and you're getting brass. But I remember in Money Heist, they actually painted the brass gold. So it wasn't, they thought they were getting gold. It looked gold. It wasn't the brass. But yeah, I mean, just be safe, keep it in a safe place. Don't tell anybody. It's like Daria, I'll leave you with this. Daria goes, I'm scared to go to Serbia, how they're going to treat Russian people. I says, well, don't wear a t-shirt that says I'm Russian. Don't even say anything. Don't say something like I'm a Russian. I said, I'll do the talking and I'll talk in English. They won't have a clue you're Russian. And as long as I got money, we'll be fine. Okay, everybody, have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have some good news about the job. I'll probably go to the pool first and then go there. But I am surprised. I haven't heard, but I haven't heard a no. So I got to look at it stoically. I did not hear. He didn't say he didn't get it, and he did ask for references. So on that point, I think it's pretty good news. I get that feeling, but anyway. All right. Ciao, everybody. Good luck on the baseball. Good luck on your gold. Buy as much as you can before the price goes up. It will go up. You'll be glad if you bought it now because you can't lose. If you need money, you just go back to the gold store and say, I need some green crap and make the change. I mean, there's no loss. There's no risk. In fact, the risk is holding the dollar. That's your risk. All right. I'm out of here. Have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. You can get my email there if you want to email me. Otherwise, I will be here usually every day. If I get the job, I'll be on a little less during the week, but I'll always be on the weekends. All right. Take care, everybody.